JB&M Sports Fanatic channel, what's good with you? It's your boy JB here, and we are here for yet another college football playoff game here, this time featuring Alabama versus Indiana here. And so for the Rose Bowl, who's going to get that W here today? We're going to find that out here, but I like both team odds in this one. I feel like this one is just about even coming into this one. Bama probably playing a little bit better than they were at some point this season. I'm excited for it. But yeah, a lot to go through here. And so let's get us started here with Lewis in the chat. And so Lewis, what's good? Lewis says, let's go JB. What's good with you, Lewis? And first of all, congratulations to your Chicago Bears. I know they're going to be in the postseason. They're going to have a home game, man. You've got to be proud of those Chicago Bears. I know that you're always high on the San Francisco 49ers as well. So I'm just happy to have you here, Lewis. And did you take the over or under? And then we've got Mike. Mike saying, JB, you better believe it. You better believe it. And I know it's going to be asked here, but no, JB is not starting a new fashion trend here. Nah, JB's eye is actually a little bit sensitive to the light. It happened around when the new year started. It's like my left eye just all of a sudden just got really sensitive. Probably because I'm on the computer so much. So that's why I'm wearing shades right now. So believe me, JB's not trying to start a new trend or nothing like that. It's just one of my eyes right now is sensitive to the light. So that's why I'm wearing shades here for this one, which makes it kind of hard to see some of the words because I had to dim the light and everything to make this happen. But JB's here. And so normal guy, what's good? What's good? You said left a like and come from UST Nation yesterday, Raid. And so yeah, I remember you. What's good with you? How are you feeling? And then we've got Daniel Berry here in the chat. What's good and Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year to everyone here. It's obviously the first time seeing you this year. How was everybody's New Year's night? How'd you bring in the new year? And so I hope everybody had a better New Year start than JB did, because all of a sudden, like my left eye just started, I don't know, getting irritated by the light. So that's why I'm wearing shades here. Samuel, what's good? Happy New Year. How are you? I know you're waiting for that Georgia and Ole Miss game later on tonight, and I know you're rooting for Ole Miss. Lewis says, bear down. Lewis, I know you took money on this one, Lewis. You took the under. Tell me this, Lewis, because yesterday I was pretty sure that you took the under on Miami versus Ohio State, as much as I want to forget about that game. But tell me, did you take the under in that one too? Let's see. Samuel says, what, sunglasses? Yeah, JB's not starting the trend here. Believe me, this is not what I'm expecting for 2026. It's just, my left eye cannot tolerate much light right now. So that's why I'm having to wear the shades. But how about that? 2026 and JB's powering through, what normally would have had JB just cancel. So how about that? And so, but yeah, JB is fine. JB is fine. It's kind of mild. It's not like too bad. It's just kind of mild. So JB is good. Appreciate you asking. All right, so Lewis took the under at 49.5, and now it's down to 46. So a lot of people were hitting that under there, but Lewis caught it at his best mark there, and that's good. A game like this, because honestly, I feel like Indiana, when they score the ball and move the ball, they're going to take off about 5 minutes off the clock, 6 minutes off the clock, maybe even at some point 7 or 8 minutes to score. So when they score, they take time off the clock. And so pending Bama, if they start off where they left off, or if it takes them a minute there, I also like the under in this one as well. I like it really at 49.5. 46, we're getting close because I can see it getting up to 47, but I think it stays under 50. Let's see, number guy says, good, how about you? And so, well, JB's making it do what it do. Making it do what it do. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling revived. I know it's a new year, but I'm feeling revived. I feel like this entire year we can really conquer 2026 and make it our year. So I'm feeling positive. Sky's the limit, right? Let's see, Lewis says Bulldogs. And so, hey, Lewis, you got to avenge my team. You've got to avenge my team. Can y'all do it? Assuming y'all get past this, Ole Miss and stuff like that, which I'm banking that Georgia will win. But it should be a close one. It'll be a close one. And so, yes, Happy New Year to all. Kickoff on the way. And so here we go. Bama versus Indiana. Can Indiana break this streak of teams that were off the first round continuously losing? What's up with that? You know, like it's got to be something to it if all these teams are losing after taking a week off. I'm not going to lie. Ohio State, we looked at rusty yesterday. That was very evident. We looked at rusty and we looked at slow offensively in the first half. We looked gassed in the second half defensively. But anyways, this ain't about us. This is about Bama and Indiana. So right now, let's see what Indiana has in store. Mendoza trying to escape the rush there. Brought down. Going to lose a yard. That's going to count as a sack there. And so big game, Mendoza. I'm telling you, this is the perfect chance to see how is he going to look. Because I know everybody's curious if he has to go and try to rectify the Raiders or even the Jets, one of those two teams. Is he up to the task? And we're going to find out if the defense is getting constant pressure on him, how will he look in a game like this, a big-time game? All right, so it's a run play, and look at that. Nice carry there on second down. That's going to put you right there in that third and medium territory there. Can they get a first down? Third down is going to be extremely critical right now for Indiana because you convert some third downs there, you're going to milk that clock there, and it's going to pay off in the fourth quarter. All right, let's see. Samuel says, who I got out of Ole Miss and Georgia. And so, yeah, I've got Georgia winning this one. I think Georgia's a better football team than when they beat Ole Miss the first time, and that's why I think Georgia will be the team that will get that W versus Ole Miss. But it should be a good one. Meanwhile, Mendoza, feeling the rush. Mendoza goes down. And that's a sack. So how about that? Bama coming out with energy. And anybody that was on the stream yesterday can testify that JB projected that Bama is going to win this game. So I'm going to stick with my pick. Obviously, extremely early. And if Indiana does win, power to them. We like to see, new things happen there. So if it happens there, but I think Bama will get this one. But you guys let JB know, what do you think? And Lewis said, yes, JB, you took the under at 39 yesterday and barely covered. And so, oh man, I know that last touchdown towards the end, you was like, why would we do that? But I'm glad that at least you were able to capitalize off of that, off of JB's pain. Brayhawk, what's good? Braden says, hey, JB. Let's see, Braden says, JB looking fly even though with what happened last night. Believe me, Braden, I know I said this a couple times here, but JB is not trying to start a new trend here. It just so happens that my left eye right now is sensitive to the light because I've been in front of the computer screen for too long. So that is exactly why. Because even when I'm not streaming, there's a lot of stuff going on. Braden says, nice run. Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to everyone coming through here. This is how we start 2026. Speaking of starting 2026, Ty Simpson, what will he do here? 1st and 10 from their own 41-yard line. Receiver goes in motion, gets the snap, looking, has time. Now he's got to run. Now he throws it away. 2nd and 10 coming up. The ability to generate pass rush without having to send too many extra blitzes is so key, especially it shows up in these big playoff games. Like, that is one thing I have really noticed. Let's see, Samuel said, you're picking Ole Miss out of that game? Bet. Let's see, Braden said, got it. It's not like the hoodie. I didn't grab the hoodie because the way that my heater system works in my apartment is that this room that I'm in right now gets the hottest the quickest. The rest of the rooms, they'll stay neutral, but this room gets extremely hot. So I was not about to do that tonight. Was not going to do it. Let's see. Raiden says, lucky you didn't do the Orange Bowl. Exactly. You guys saved me for that one because I really thought about it. I really did. But at the end, this is the game that the people chose. So let's see how this plays out. 3rd and 6 right now for Bama. They're going to go with 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back, snaps the ball. Ty throws it to his running back. Running back gets enough for the first down. And so the Crimson Tide will move the chains. But yeah, I watched that game there, and I kept thinking to myself, Texas Tech offense looked horrible. They really did. And it's got to be something about, I don't know, the time that was off. The defense tried their best, but when the offense ain't helping, That was crazy. That was crazy. A team that usually every victory that Texas Tech had was by what, 20 plus points? So simply the fact that it was close, well, for a little bit at halftime told me that they were going to lose. But I was like, dang, I already said Texas Tech. Meanwhile, Simpson on the move. How about that? Picks up about 6 yards on the play. Greyhawk says, got him. Again, we're here in the first quarter here. 11 minutes and 28 seconds to go. 0-0 is our score. But Bama, can they find a way to get the first points of the game and set the tone? Let's see. Samuel says he's going to Walmart. And he's going to, okay, so you're going to be hitting up Walmart? That's what's up. That's what's up. Going to get JB a brand new TV, huh? That's what's up. All right, so you'll be back soon, no later than about 50 minutes? Okay, appreciate the heads up. Meanwhile, oh, what a run. What a run right there. And a first down. Meanwhile, here in the first quarter, about 10 minutes and 50 seconds to go here in the first. And that was Hill on the carry. Now, Indiana's known for their run defense here, but we'll see if Hill continues to get carries like that. If you took the over at his line, it was anywhere from 35 to 34.5 when I checked it. If you took the under, then yeah, you're looking at Indiana like shut it down. And that's exactly what the Hoosiers do on the second carry here. Back to the line of scrimmage. Second down coming up. This is going to be a game that Ty Simpson is going to have to win for Bama. This is going to be on his shoulders out there. And so, Phoenix, what's good? What's good? He says, JB with the gangster locks. Look, and so, oh man. And so, well, this is not too much by choice here. It's just JB's having some sensitivity to light in my left eye right now. So this is just so that way I'm still able to stream despite what I'm, experiencing right now. Oh man, what a great job there by the defense there. He lost at least about 4 yards on that pass. And this is what Indiana does. All right, so yeah, that was a forward pass, so that will count as a pass, not a run. All right, so 3rd and 14. Now, if you're Indiana, this is where you got to get them off the field here. Ball at the 41-yard line of the Hoosiers. Simpson feeling the rush. Simpson turning. Simpson looking. Simpson throws it up there. And it's incomplete. Incomplete. Nearly picked off, but incomplete. That defense got after it. Defense got after it. If it wasn't for that big hit by the receiver to separate that ball, he kind of looked like a safety on that play. Laney, what's good? How are you? And Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. All right, so after that punt, let's see what Indiana does. They're going to be starting deep within their own territory this time, so I look for them to come out looking to establish that run game. But yeah, I tried watching some of that Oregon-Texas Tech game, but somewhere around the 3rd quarter, I was like, yeah, Oregon's going to get this one. So that was a wrap for me. Yes, Happy New Year indeed. So despite my team falling flat yesterday, I mean, I'm talking about like flat on our face yesterday, JB is in good spirits today. And again, for anyone that is not aware, the reason why JB is wearing shades today is simply because my left eye is a little sensitive to the light, so I had to dim all of my lights there. So if I happen to make a mistake on a word or two and stuff like that, just know that, yeah, with it being a darker screen here, reading a comment is a bit more challenging right now. but it's what I got to do. And so Mike, what's good? Mike was like the second person right behind Lewis that came in today with the comments here. So what's good with you, Mike? I know Mike is going against Bama. I know he's going for Indiana in this one. I know it. And so Kyle, what's good? What's good? Yo, how are we? How are we? Up. All right, so how are we? And then Mr. JB coming through saying, Happy New Year's, everyone, and God bless. And again, his team got the W yesterday, so y'all know he's excited about that. He's going to be paying attention to that Georgia versus Ole Miss game tonight. And again, that's at 8 o'clock Eastern time for anybody that does not know. Georgia come in as pretty heavily favored, for the second round of the playoffs, pretty heavily favored. But hey, you got to go out there and make it happen. And again, right now, currently at the commercial here, but the score is 0-0. And Mike says, congrats, Mr. JB. Yeah, this is big news for the Hurricanes making it to the Final Four. But it's all about finishing the job. Because football is a game of matchups, and that's what it comes down to. All right, so here goes the Hoosiers. Run play. All right, picks up about 2 yards on the play. Again, here in the first quarter, about 8 minutes and 43 seconds to go. And again, Mendoza, the quarterback it's got everybody excited in the NFL, projected to be the first quarterback off the board. Most likely, one would assume, barring some type of trade, that he would probably end up playing for a team like the Raiders or the Jets next season. But again, a lot can happen between now and April. Run play, up the middle, runs it hard. About 2 yards shy of that first down marker. Third down coming up, third and short. And if you're Bama, if you can get a stop here, you should end up with good field position, and that's what you want. All right, so 3rd and 2. And again, for Indiana, they have no problem being patient and just continuing to go out there. And at some point, you'll see that offensive line and defensive line start to come through. Oh, what a nice pass. Nice pass for the first down on the move by Mendoza. He threw a bullet in there. So you look at that. He's running, keeps his eyes downfield, sees the receiver, and throws it in a place where only his guy can get it. And that's what's critical when a quarterback makes a throw on the move like that, throwing it where only your guy can get it away from the defender. So now fresh set of downs to work with, and that's Elijah Surratt for Indiana. Quick pass, gets the completion, and fights. He's going to be about a yard shy of that first down marker there, but a great effort to get that far. And again, hey, if you got a receiver like that, use them. All right, 2nd and 1. So 2nd and 1 for the Indiana Hoosiers here. 8 seconds right now on the play clock. Snaps the ball. Quick pass. Caught again by Surratt. Got to make some miss. And, ooh, he's still short. Still short. So right now, they're determined to get the ball into their playmaker's hand. And you got to like it. I like that when a coach comes in with a game plan and a scheme to get his guy the ball and let him make it do what it do. But 3rd and 1 and under 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter of play, and we're still waiting for our first points of the game, in which Lewis is all smiles about that. Lewis took the under at 49.5, so this is working out just as he could have, like dream scenario for him right now. They run, they get the first down, and it's like I said, when Indiana does put together scoring drives, these are going to be drives that probably take off 5+ minutes off the clock. All right, so fresh and downs to work with here. 1st and 10, 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Shotgun formation, 3 receiver, 1 tight end, 1 back on the field to the back and the back. Off the left tackle will pick up a yard on the play. So now we've got 2nd down coming up here. 2nd and 9 here for the Indiana Hoosiers. And again, the Hoosiers, they are 13-0 this season. The only team that is currently undefeated in this bracket. And I like the philosophy. You keep moving the chains and you keep moving the clock there. Motions the receiver, snaps it. Mendoza has time. Mendoza throws it deep. Oh, finds his receiver there on the sideline. That's a catch. That's a catch every day of the week right there. And that's what gets the people excited right there. When you make throws like that, look at that throw. Nice throw. Good catch. It's college football. You just need 1 foot down, and that's exactly what he got. All right, 1st and 10, ball at the 40-yard line right now. They're going to shuffle the formation here. Again, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Run play. Picks up about 5 yards on the carry. Just going to make it 2nd and 5 coming up. And again, when you're able to run the ball and move the ball like that, that's when the defense starts bringing up. And that time they blitz, secondary person, and Indiana was able to capitalize off of that. The important part that you're seeing is that when Mendoza does decide to take those deep shots, he has the time to do it. And that's so important right there. If you're Bama, you got to generate pressure. You can't give him that much time. 2nd and 5. Run play. Another first down. Picked up about 6 yards on the carry. Got the first down here in the first quarter with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go here in the first quarter of play. All right, so just like that, first down, and again, continuously moving the chains, milking the clock in the process there. That keeps your defense rested, tires out the other team and stuff. So if you're Bama at some point, you got to get a stop. Quick pass, completion, and fighting for the yards he can. Picks up about 9 yards on the reception there. So again, Mendoza looking comfortable here. This drive started back at around their own 3-yard line. So keep that in mind. At the start of this drive, they were at their own 3-yard line. But through a combination of running, passing, hitting those passes there, guys, getting open, running great routes. And that's continuously the theme here. You're seeing they're in 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1 quite often. That's where you want to be at, where you have 2 downs to basically get a yard, 3 if you need it. Gives it to the back, gets the first down with ease. Let's see, did they blow it? At some point, they got to blow it there. But excellent job. This offensive line is feeling it right now, especially when it comes to run blocking. And so Indiana, they want to reach that end zone first. SM, what's good? What's good? I thought you might have, been a little hungover from partying too hard last night, SM. You say, what's good, JB? And who am I rooting for in this one? And so, honestly, I felt like coming into this one that Bama would win. But I see myself right now looking like, if Indiana keeps doing what they're doing, JB won't be, hurt either way, but I'd be happy for either team that wins. So I'm kind of neutral in this one. I'm kind of neutral in this one. But I just really want to evaluate Mendoza in this type of situation, honestly. Let's see. Mike says, does Mendoza look like an NFL QB? He's got some NFL QB traits, but one thing I will say, he's got a lot of help with him. He's got a tremendous coach. He's got some great receivers, great offensive line. Wherever he's going to get drafted at, most likely he's not going to have any of that. So it's going to come down to how does he respond if his rookie year turns out to be terrible in the NFL? I'm not even going to say like just bad. Like there's a potential if you get drafted by the Jets or the Raiders, you're going to have a nightmare of a season. That's just the reality of it. So how do you respond if you have one bad year, then everybody's off the hype wagon, even possibly talking about should we replace this guy? I think he has the tools to succeed at the NFL level. He's definitely, I like, a lot of his accuracy, his decision making, all of that stuff. He's a lot more mobile than people believe if you haven't watched him play. But aside from that, he won't be able to carry the teams that, most likely would draft him. I said a long time ago, I think I said this for him, is that I feel like if a team like the Rams were to be very aggressive and say, hey, we want to get our quarterback of the future and put together a package to draft a guy like Mendoza, that would be perfect. But obviously, he's most likely going to end up, with a team that needs a quarterback badly right now. And yeah, that's that's not the place you want to go right now, the Jets or the Raiders. So for anybody, that would be a struggle, is what I'm saying. So, but do I think he's an NFL quarterback? Yes. Yes, I believe he's an NFL quarterback. But he's going to need to have, eventually a little bit of luck to where whatever team he gets drafted by gets the right coach that can help him reach his potential. He said, who's the Alabama quarterback? That is Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson. Now, Ty Simpson has the possibility of coming back another year for Bama, potentially. I'm sure some Bama fans are probably like, no, just go ahead, go on. We want to keep our, recruits that are waiting to play next year. But regardless of what he does, I still think Ty Simpson's got a lot of upside to him. But he probably can use another year. He probably can use another year to develop. But that's just my opinion, guys. All right, Mr. JB's going for Indiana. He says, no doubt for him. SM says, JB, what about Dante Moore? Dante Moore, honestly, I feel like, because when I think of Dante Moore, I always like to compare a bunch of the Oregon quarterbacks and be like, where does he fit with the Oregon quarterbacks of the NFL? Obviously, that's guys like, your Bo Nix, your Justin Herberts and stuff like that. Do I think that Dante Moore would be better than either of them? I'm along the lines of thinking that Dante Moore is specifically going to be critical that he goes to a place where a good team that perhaps has, like, let's say a veteran quarterback and stuff, so that way he doesn't have to get rushed in there. Go in there, learn the system. If he's comfortable with the system, I can see him having success. But if he has to go in there too early, that might can knock his confidence there. I like Dante Moore, but I'm not going to say that I'm in love with Dante Moore. Do I think he's going to end up being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? No. Do I think he's going to end up being a top 15 quarterback in the NFL? No. Do I think he's going to be a top 20 quarterback in the NFL? Maybe at the bottom end of 20 if things work out well. That's my opinion for Dante Moore, is that I think that his ceiling is not going to be reaching that top 15. It's going to be like maybe top 20 at best. But that's my evaluation of him right now. The kid could obviously prove me wrong, because I know Bo Nix certainly proved me wrong there, because I did not think that Bo Nix was going to end up doing what he's done. So he's in the right system that works for him. He doesn't have to score 30-plus points. Just got to go out there and then be clutch. And that's something that he can do. So that works out for him. All right. But of course, Mike, and you say, what do we know about Ohio State quarterback? So Julian Sand is a freshman. He's a freshman, so he's got a lot of work to do. He's not the most mobile. Well, he's not mobile at all, really. And that showed, but he throws a lot of accurate passes. About Julian Sand, if you give him time, he'll throw a dime. If you make him rush, then the offense is going to get flushed. That's really the scouting report right now when it comes to Julian Sand. Give him time, he'll rob you the secondary blind. I may sound like Dr. Seuss right now, but that's the truth. If you give this man time and he's comfortable, he will pick you apart. So he kind of reminds me a little bit of CJ Stroud from like just the pure throwing the ball perspective. Like CJ can make all the throws and he was comfortable many times. That's what Julian Sand is. But Julian Sand doesn't have the legs. So if the offensive line breaks down, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Let's see, you say any new parrots there. Meanwhile, we got a 31-yard field goal attempt coming up here for Indiana. And again, I told you guys before, anytime Indiana's going to score, they're going to take a lot of time off the clock doing it. So when Lewis took the under before the game, especially at 49.5, I was like, hey, my man's going to cash that one. That's going to be an easy cash right there, easy cash. Because at most, I can see them reaching about 46, 47 points. But hey, the first quarter's already done. So... But yeah, who is Dante Moore? Dante Moore is the quarterback of the Oregon Ducks. So not sure if you actually watched the game versus Texas Tech earlier, but that is who Moore is, and he would be the second quarterback in this year's draft as of right now. But you know how things go once we get to the, combine, and then they're like, oh, the intangibles. They see somebody that's got the ideal profile. So you never know, between that, the Senior Bowl, who's going to rise, who's going to fall. It's a lot of time between now and then. Because I remember clear as day going back to about 2004 when Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith was being compared. And to me, it seemed like it was pretty obvious Aaron Rodgers was, QB1, but somehow, some way, people fell in love with Alex Smith the closer we got to the draft, and the 49ers end up taking Alex Smith as opposed to Aaron Rodgers. Now imagine how history might have been different if the 49ers had drafted Aaron Rodgers at that time as opposed to Alex Smith. What could have been? Not to say anything bad about Alex Smith, but, the career Aaron Rodgers had. All right, so we are at the end of the first quarter. And again, just a reminder, JB is wearing shades not to make any type of fashion trend statement. The reason I'm wearing these shades is just simply because my left eye is a little sensitive to light right now due to my high usage of the computer. So I've had to dim all the lights and stuff. So if I end up saying something wrong in terms of like you're reading your comment wrong, just forgive your boy, because right now everything is very dark that I'm seeing, but I'm doing the best I can here. But yeah, one quarter in the books. And so 0-0. When we come back, we'll see if Indiana can tack on 3 points right now. But this is kind of the game that I sort of envisioned, like from start to finish. I thought it was going to be something like this in the first half. Second half, the X factor is going to be Ty Simpson. If he can get into a rhythm in that second half, which I know he's capable of, that can be the big deciding factor. But if Indiana's going to keep going on these long drives and stuff, then hey, look out. We've seen what that looks like for them. That's their formula for success. And I like it. Honestly, I like it. Whenever I play NCAA football, that's what I like to do. I like to go down there, go on a long drive, take off about, I guess video game time is about, 3 minutes maybe off the clock, then score, tire out your opponent defense, all of that. But you look at the passing yards from the first quarter. So Mendoza had 55 yards passing. Meanwhile, Ty Simpson for Alabama, he had 12 yards passing. Meanwhile, for rushing the ball for Bama, their leading rusher was Hill. He's got 6 yards on the ground. And as for Indiana, Black is their leading rusher, and he's got, I believe that looks like 26 yards rushing so far in this one. SM says, does the winner of this game play Miami? That is a no. The winner of the Ole Miss versus Georgia matchup, that's who will play Miami. So Miami's waiting for the game that comes on after this one at 8 o'clock Eastern time between Georgia and Ole Miss. Now, I know a lot of people out there for years, because me too as a college football fan, meanwhile, Indiana converts on a field goal. So Indiana takes the lead here, 3-0. And I know they wanted to touchdown that drive. But the Indiana Hoosiers kicking a field goal, getting the first points of the game right there. And most importantly, that drive, how much time and how long they kept their opponent's defense on the field. They will see the benefits of that, in the fourth quarter if they continue to keep that up. But SM, Miami will play either Georgia or Ole Miss. And I would love to see Georgia versus Miami at this point. I mean, obviously, I did not want that to be the matchup because of my team, but at this point, Georgia and Miami, that would be a great matchup to see because that's a game I've always wanted to see because you never see those two teams play each other, Georgia versus Miami. Matter of fact, does anybody know, the last time that the University of Georgia and the University of Miami has played each other in football? If anybody knows that in the chat, let JB know because to my knowledge, I'm drawing a blank of thinking, have I ever seen Georgia versus Miami? Now, we always, every year, of course, basically see Georgia Tech and Miami for the most part, but Georgia versus Miami, does anybody know? Let's see. Braden says, big stop by Bama. He says, Beck's revenge game. When I saw the bracket, that was one of my concerns. I was like, do the football guys really want to see that revenge game? Is that what this was all about? And we were just the catalyst to hype up the game? But yeah, Carson Beck versus his former team. That will be the game. UGA, if they get to play him, they're going to want to certainly get after him for sure. All right, let's see. Greyhawks looking it up. I appreciate that, Brayden. I appreciate that. I see Mr. JB says Georgia can get work too. And oh man, Mr. JB's feeling confident. He says he wants everybody. He wants everybody. I know I don't see Kirk Cousins on no commercial for no great clips. I know I don't see Kirk Cousins. My man stay getting money, Kirk Cousins. All right, so Braden's coming back and he says they've played each other 12 times, but the last time they played was 1966. That does not make any sense right there because you think about, just if it's pure just location, and obviously I know, maybe not, well, even more recently and stuff like that, those two teams, being ranked and stuff, it would have been a great matchup for a regular season also. So. But yeah, I've wanted to see why Miami doesn't play teams like Georgia that much. I don't know the last time Miami played, South Carolina either and stuff like that. But those are matchups where I'm like, hey, they're close enough. That could be, big for recruiting in the state next to you. But we might just get that matchup. And you said Miami won that one back in 1966? Okay. That makes sense. All right, and again, we're early second quarter here, just 3 seconds off the clock, but those 3 seconds were used to give Indiana 3 points. So the score is 3-0 right now. Somewhere out there, Lewis is saying, play better defense. But no, that had to be great because that took off a lot of time in that first quarter. But now let's see what Bama does here. Early second quarter, one back in the backfield, three receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. From their own 25-yard line. Simpson up under center here for the Crimson Tide. Going to give to the back in the back off the left side. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. I mean, if that. I thought the push got them back to the line of scrimmage, but if that. And Mr. JB says the Georgia and the Gators are scared to play Miami. Mike says college playoffs make college so much better. I'm gonna say this, Mike. There's a big benefit to having these college football playoffs there. It really does, add a lot of excitement other than just waiting for just one national championship bowl. And it's like, oh man, what if, the team that was ranked number 3 or team that was ranked number 4 or number 5 would have got in there. Now we all go out there and we just play. We see what happens on the field. That being said, though, the bowl games feel like they're not worth nothing. Like, they feel like they're not worth nothing. A matchup like Michigan versus Texas, I didn't hear nobody talking about that other than just what Arch Manning did, on the field. But nobody cared about that game. All the other bowl games that are playing, nobody's really hyping it up. So I'm like, dang, we lost like a lot of those other games. Like, what can we do to make bowl games more entertaining? It's starting to feel like the NFL Pro Bowl. Not quite at that level yet, but we are getting close to it being at that level. Meanwhile, Simpson, run it! Simpson, look at him. Now, where the referee's going to mark his progress down? Because look, he did try to slide there. He's close to that first down marker, though. All right, Samuel, welcome back. Welcome back. Hope that trip to Walmart was nice. But yeah, the college football games themselves look nice, but we still gotta figure out some other stuff when it comes to the bowl games. Like we really do. Let's see. Brayhawk says nice run. Says kind of reminds him of himself back in the day. Meanwhile, let's see. 4th and 1. Are they really gonna do it? All right, timeout call. Let's see. Mike says expand the playoffs more by week teams. And so, I mean, expanding the playoffs, at some point you'll have to probably reduce the regular season, which I don't want to reduce the regular season. I don't want less college football games there, but how do we go about it at this point? Especially since right now we're still trying to figure out, is having a week off hurting teams or is it helping teams? We're still trying to figure that out, but I still would like to see a little bit more of an expansion there because I feel like a team like Notre Dame should have been in the college football playoffs. But every year is something different. Like next year it might be where we didn't have enough, teams, so we have so many blowouts. But this year we had a lot of competitive teams. But we got to figure something out about the rest of those bowl games. Let's see. Braden says it's like Beck from last night. You say just short. Samuel said, what'd you miss so far, Samuel? Well, so far, Indiana was able to, they started off the drive from their own 3-yard line. I can't emphasize enough. They were able to convert some clutch, third downs. They had like second and third and short. And then Mendoza, when asked to throw the ball, made some good passes there. But ultimately, they stalled out towards the end and settled for a field goal. So right now, we have Indiana up 3-0. I see Mike says more teams that have a bye week like top 4 now. And so, I mean, that's one way to go about it. That's one way to go about it. Heck, bye weeks hurt teams so bad, it hurt my fantasy football team. Made the playoffs with an undefeated 13-0 team in fantasy football, had the first round off, came back, and all of a sudden, I got eliminated thanks to Trevor Lawrence. So Laney, your boy Trevor Lawrence, he messed up your boy's fantasy football league when he went off against the Jets for like all those touchdowns. What was it, like 6 touchdowns? So I'll never forget what Trevor Lawrence did to my fantasy football team that game. Samuel says, thank you, JB. Of course. Of course. No problem. And so I know it had to feel good though, Laney. I know it had to feel good because you stuck by Trevor Lawrence despite what I said about Trevor Lawrence and his performance, despite what I know Zoe also said. Well, Zoe was very hard on Trevor Lawrence and stuff, but yeah, Trevor Lawrence, it feels like, I don't know, something clicked. I don't know what happened that made it click in all honesty, but something clicked for him. Maybe it was the addition of Jacoby Myers, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's working out for him. Him, ETN starting to run better and stuff. So power to him. The Jaguars are like the X factor in this year's playoffs in the AFC. They're the X factor. All right, 4th and 1 here for the Crimson Tide. All right, I'm interested myself to see what's going to happen here. Man, look at that. Indiana's coach is not impressed by that. All right, so Mike says 20-team playoffs. And so, okay, so in terms of like qualifications to qualify for it? Would it still be like, I guess, the same standard metrics and stuff, and then we're just going off the best remaining teams? Should we get to the point, Mike, where we just go back to having like still the same format, but instead of letting the committee choose, we let well, what was it called? Like the same thing that we used to do back in the BCS era and stuff like that. Like let the computer decide are the best teams based upon purely the records and stuff. Should we go back to that or just keep it as it is and just expand the teams? I'm not gonna lie, this has to be the longest 4th-and-1 I've seen. All right, so they still are debating going for it here. Snaps the ball, gives it to his playmaker, and oh, he's not gonna get it. He's not gonna get it. He's not gonna get it. Do not underestimate that run defense of Indiana. I can tell you firsthand, don't underestimate them. Oh man, never would I have ever thought I'd see the day where Bama can't get a yard when they need it on a 4th down play with the linemen that they have. But look at that. First guy comes, second guy comes. And what I love the most about this is that help came immediately. Once the first guy got there, everybody kept flying to the football, flying to the football. Oh, you don't messed up now. You don't gave Indiana some more ammo here. That was a big mistake on Bama's part. I'm about to say, who's calling the plays here? Dan Campbell? Oh, my bad. I didn't even read what you said, Lenny. You said, yeah, I knew he could do it. I just hope he keeps it up. And so, hey, the way they're paying him, he better keep it up. Samuel says, hey, Laney. All right, meanwhile, Mendoza feeling the pressure. Mendoza keeps his footing. There is a flag back there, but Mendoza on the ground picked up 5 yards on the play. But let's see, is it a hold call? It is. Holding there against Indiana. So despite the great effort there by Mendoza, it's not going to matter. Mike says, all right, so Mike says, let's be real. The outer conference teams stink and they'll be out early, so I want them in though. It's like, yeah, keep it to where it is. They can put in 2 teams on a good year. I feel like most years, if we have 20 teams, they probably can get 2 years in. If we expand it, 2 teams in, they'll get eliminated, sure. Maybe 1 year, 1 out of every 10 years, they might have a legit team and stuff like that, maybe. But outside of that, yeah, they'll eliminate themselves. All right, run and play. Still running. Still running, and a first down there for the Indiana Hoosiers. 20 yards, doesn't matter. Just like that, vanishes, and a first down for the Indiana Hoosiers. And right now, Indiana, they're sniffing the end zone. They're thinking about end zone. They want to reach the end zone, and at this point, will they be able to do it? That's the question. Snaps the ball. Another run play. Takes him to just outside the 20-yard line. So again, we're here in the second quarter, 11 minutes and 28 seconds to go. Indiana up 3-0 right now, facing a 2nd and 8. And Mike says expand, hashtag expand. Another reason why it makes sense to expand is that the moment that a team knows they're playing a bowl game, now assuming they don't pull a Notre Dame and just say we're not going, players are going to keep opting out because they don't want to play in a bowl game that they feel like just ain't worth the risk, So maybe if it's an extended playoff, more guys will just choose to play because it's worth something. You're still fighting for something. Incomplete there. So now we've got a 3rd and 8 coming up. Now this is big for both teams. If you're Indiana, you got a massive stop, but you don't want to come away with another field goal. You want to try to get a touchdown here. Now, they say Mendoza is him. So can Mendoza get a first down here for Indiana? That would be clutch. 3rd and 8. But that pass rush, they got to give him time. 3 receivers at the bottom of the screen here. 1 tight end top of the formation. Bama, bring in blitz. It's picked up. Simpson throws it. I'm sorry, not Simpson. Mendoza throws it. And that's a touchdown, Indiana. So how about that? Wow. Charlie Becker. So Indiana up 9-0. We've got the extra point coming up here. Wow. And so Samuel says my pick there. Well, I picked Bama coming into this game and stuff like that. But how this game is going right now, this is going exactly how the script would go for Indiana. But let's not forget, wasn't Bama down last game in the first round and then they came back? How many points were they down in that first game? Let's see, Mike says the players to get millions should have to play. And so there's got to be some type of stimulation there, because I don't get it. Like people used to play for the love of the game. It didn't matter back then. Because what was that linebacker that used to be a linebacker for Notre Dame? He's like an edge rusher too. I forget his name, but he had got carted off the game in a bowl game. I remember, and he was like a big time player. And when the draft process came, it hurted his draft stock because of that injury. I don't know if he ever reached his full potential or not, but he was willing to risk it. And back then, they wasn't getting paid back then. So players used to care. That's why the Pro Bowl stinks as it is, because the players don't care the way they used to. It's all about, well, what's in it for me? What about the fans? Like the people that supported you all year long. This is supposed to be like a feel-good way to possibly end the season. Everybody gets to travel, go out to a nice location and stuff. You win a bowl game, and hey, for the rest of that year, for the rest of your career, life, all of that stuff, you get to brag about it. But these players, they're like, if it don't make dollars, then it don't make sense. That's literally their mindset. Let's see, Mike says top 12 playoffs is now a million times better. And so I agree. I agree. And we're getting matchups that we normally sometimes would not get to see. And that's the beauty of it. We're getting to see matchups that we typically don't get to see sometimes in the regular season. Let's see, Braden says, what a catch. Braden says this reminds him back of his high school days, going up there making catches like that, except he was mossing people. Insane. Let's see, Samuel says, Bama may win, make the game win today. You think Bama's going to come back? I mean, hey, if Ty Simpson gets going, they can come back. But right now, everything is going Indiana's way. And when you take a risk like going for it on fourth down, like that, the way that they did, I mean, timeouts were burnt, all that kind of stuff, different phases. They really wanted to go for it and did not convert. All that for nothing. Greyhawk says, yep, no lies were told, just mossing people. And so my man was a dual threat athlete. Matter of fact, he was a triple threat athlete out there. He was out there playing football, basketball, baseball, might even played hockey a little bit now that I think about it. That's why they call him Greyhawk. But again, we're at the commercial now. The fact that we are at this point in the second quarter, we still got over 10 minutes to go, so a lot can change. But right now, Bama, they've been on defense for most of this game. Offensively, Ty Simpson still has 12 yards passing. And he's now their leading rusher at this moment with 7 yards rushing. So that tells you the story right there. Uh-oh. Mr. JB, he's calling out people today. He said, where is black medicine? Oh, man, Mr. JB's like, where is black medicine? He said he wants to smoke today. All right, kickoff on the way. We're at the 10-yard line. 14. Speaking of Mr. JB's teams, with his Indianapolis coach being eliminated the way that they are, they brought back Fliff Referal from retirement, and he still couldn't right the ship. They started off first 8 games, 7-1, last 8 games, 1-7. Talk about flipping the script for the worst way possible. How does that even happen? I mean, I know Daniel Jones went down, that was big and stuff, but still, 1-7, tough. All right, Laney says, hey, Samuel. All right, here we go. 1st and 10. 3 receivers at the top of the screen here. Shotgun formation. All right, tight end went in motion. Fakes to the back. Goes to throw. Gets the completion. And tackled immediately at about the 19-yard line. 2nd down coming up. Again, 10 minutes and 25 seconds to go here in the second quarter of play. I mean, look at the intensity of Indiana's coach. He's like that every game, I feel like. All right, 2nd and 5. From their own 19-yard line, receiver goes in motion. Play fake, looking, throws it, gets the completion. And that is what Bama's going to have to do. They're really going to have to rely on Ty Simpson to come in here and ball out. Because you got to get first downs. You cannot let that defense go back out there, considering how long they've already been on the field. You do not want that if you're Bama. You got to go out there, sustain a drive, get something out of this. All right, Simpson up on the center here. Got a fullback back in the backfield. Quick pass, incomplete, incomplete, incomplete. All right, so we got 2nd and 10 here in the Rose Bowl. Here, second quarter, 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Indiana up 10-0. So run play, and he's not going anywhere. Send him back home. He's not going anywhere. That time they gave the ball to Hill, and man, there was nothing there. Indiana does not play when it comes to that run defense. All right, so we got a 3rd and 10. Now, Indiana knows a little something about generating pressure. Simpson feels the rush. Simpson brought down. Now, he might have got back to the line of scrimmage just to prevent a sack, but man, that play had no chance. All right, so we got a 4th and 9 coming up here. Punt's on the way. Let's see if they get a good return here. All right, so he's got it at the 30. Oh, at the 40. Okay, it's about the 43-yard line. So everything is going just how you want if you're Indiana. Now you've got great field position. You can go out there, be run heavy. The defense is going to get gassed here, and this is exactly what Indiana wants. Not to mention, anytime they drop back the pass, they've got Mendoza. So they're, hey, if you're Bama, find a way to stop them here. Do not let them get, especially a touchdown on this drive. You just can't let that happen. And again, we're currently right now here at the commercial. But yeah, this game, it is moving, especially when Indiana has the ball. So Indiana has the ball, they are milking that clock. But this is a good time to discuss the remaining college football playoff game. And that's going to be Ole Miss versus Georgia. You guys let me know in the comment section, what do you project to be the final score for tonight's game, and who do you have winning? So who do you have winning and your projected score? All right, so we're getting ready to come back here from the commercial. All right, second quarter, 8:02 to go here before halftime. Indiana with the football. Indiana with the lead, 10-0. Let's see what they do here. Will that offensive line continue to get bigger and bigger pushes as this game continues to go on? All right, difference in total yards. Indiana sitting on 123. Bama's got 51. Indiana receiver goes in motion. Blitz there by Bama, and Mendoza brought down for the sack, and that's exactly what you needed there. If you were Bama, you had to get that pressure on Mendoza. One thing about the college football playoffs that I love, if you have a weakness on the offensive line, it will be exposed. So this is the perfect time if you're an NFL scout. This is where I want to watch the trenches and see who's actually winning these battles and these types of matchups. All right, 2nd and 19. So run play there. And another nice run there when it's 2nd and long. That should make it at least 3rd down and doable. But right now we've got the running back currently down right now for Indiana. Certainly hope that he's okay. Felt like he was holding his arm maybe or his wrist, one and two. Kalon Black, senior. So you know how much this game means to him as a senior. And now we are currently at the commercial. All right, well, during halftime, we'll have the perfect opportunity to just talk about the AFC and NFC playoff picture. Now that we're down to the final week, some teams won't be playing, some teams don't have much to play for, some teams got everything to play for, all of that stuff. So, great time to discuss what's coming up with the NFL playoffs. We'll talk about that during halftime. And again, still right now the commercial as they deal with the injured running back from Indiana, the senior Kalon Black. Hopefully he's okay. Let's see. Brayhawk says both D lines are playing great so far, and you say May the favorite for MVP now. Yeah, it was Stafford's to lose, and I feel like he did lose it. I feel like he did lose it to a sense. And so obviously all Drake May's got to do is go out there, especially if he can replicate what he did against the Jets. Although Miami will be much tougher there. Miami last week, they did beat Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay needed to, like, I shouldn't say, like, absolutely had to have that game, but they wanted that game. They wanted that game. And I know Miami's going to give it their very best against us. All right, 3rd and 12. Mendoza throws it. Oh, ball popped out. Was it a catch and a fumble? Or was it incomplete? All right, they're saying incomplete. Either way, they're going to punt the ball. Let's see. He went down with it. Well, either way, they will be getting the football. And we're here in the second quarter, 6 minutes and 48 seconds to go. All right, punt's on the way. Who do y'all have for Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL? I mean, I may have to, I think I've actually changed my vote because honestly, what I'm seeing from Tyler Shaw, I see the progression. He's getting better, getting better. His team, it looks good. At first I was convinced, like, oh, he's going to be a short-term thing, but hey, who knows? But I like what I'm seeing from him. I'm highly concerned for Jackson Dart, though. Like, he started off great, but man, my man gets more concussions than a little bit. All right, 1st and 10. Simpson looking. Simpson throws it. Tight end gets chopped up there, but makes the reception. About 2 yards shy of that first down marker now. 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go here in the second quarter of play. SM says it might be Shaw, honestly. And so I'm really feeling that way. Bama throws it. Gets it completed there to the running back. He's brought down immediately. All right, so 6:05 here before halftime. And again, Bama, they would love to put together a scoring drive here and get that offense going. It's a run play, and all right, so he's going to pick up about a good 6 yards there on the play. All right, so they're hurrying up. They're hurrying up. Let's see. SM says, I think he definitely wins with the Saints finish 7-10. And so, honestly, I mean, you got to give it to the kid, They got to give it to the kid because he continuously got better there. And I noticed, especially the last month of playing there. So unless he just goes out there and plays horrible, but it would certainly help if they finish 7-10. Who they play? The Atlanta Falcons? All right, 1st and 10. Looking to throw it, throws it to the running back, and the running back will get nailed on that play. All right, so we got a 2nd and 7 here. But say he's not our NCAA cover boy right there. All right, 2nd and 7. Another run play and does not get to the line of scrimmage there. All right, so we got a 3rd down coming up here. 3rd and 7. With 3:35 to go here in the second quarter of play. Oh, that pressure around him. Oh, he's running. He's running. All the way. Oh, the ball came out, but I believe that he was knocked to the ground before the ball came out. But let's see what the referee says. So the referee say Indiana ball, but I think they're gonna look at this replay, or maybe I need to look at this replay here. Let's see. But man, what a hit! What a hit! So Brayhawk says it's close. I'm looking at the replay here. Okay, so to me, they ruled it a fumble, and the ball started to move before he hit the ground. So that to me is a fumble. Look at it again. That ball, definitely. Now I gotta probably see where the knee is at and stuff, but in terms of the elbow and stuff like that, that's a fumble. That's a fumble. Brayhawk agrees. Brayhawk says last time he got hit that hard, he was playing against Brian Dawkins back in the day. Last time he got hit that hard. All right, so nice run play there. Picks up about 5 yards, and that's what you want on first down. You get that consistent 5 to 8 yards on the ground there, you're doing something right. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go here in the second quarter of play. Indiana up 10-0. Indiana wants to increase this lead here before the half, but they also want to leave no time there. Right now, Ty Simpson, he's feeling the agony. He's feeling the pain. He's hurting right now. But his team needs him. Mendoza keeps it. And Mendoza's going to pick up 3 yards in the play. That's going to make it 3rd and 3. Brock says he got his chip tooth from his teeth chipped from that hit. Oh man, Braden. Well, Braden's got big money, so he was able to replace it. No easy. I'm sorry, no problem. Samuel says, how much time is left in the game? Well, right now, Samuel, we just hit that 2 minute mark. We just hit the 2 minute mark of the second quarter. Again, Indiana Hoosiers leading this one 10-0. And we are here in the second quarter with 2 minutes to go. So right now, Lewis is back there somewhere drinking it up, knowing that right now the under is looking strong. Right now, at least based upon how things went in the first half. We'll see how the second half goes. But right now, Indiana, things are right where you want it to be. You want to obviously not give Bama any chance to try to score before the half, but you want to score before the half yourself. Whether that's a field goal or a touchdown, you prefer a touchdown, but you just want to score and leave them no time with the score before the half. Does Bama get the ball first in the second half? I'm trying to remember who got the ball first there, so I'm trying to think if Bama gets it first in the second half. And again, 2 minutes left before we reach halftime. And given the current state of the bracket right now, you guys let me know what two teams do you guys want to see play each other in the national championship? Since we kind of have a closer idea of who's remaining, as in obviously Oregon, obviously Miami, they're advanced to the next round. They're in that Final Four waiting. We still got Ole Miss, still got Georgia, still got, both Bama, Indiana here. So you guys let me know what is your dream matchup in the championship game for the remaining teams. All right, so SM says He would love to see Indiana versus Miami. That's the matchup that he would love to see in the national championship. Okay, okay. Kenneth, what's good? What's good? Happy New Year. Hope this year is treating you well. And you say, hey, Mr. JB, how are you doing today? And I'm doing good today. You say Indiana versus Miami. That is your dream matchup there. Okay. Okay. Mr. JB himself says Miami versus Indiana. So right now we've got all responses so far. Miami versus Indiana. That would definitely be a different flavor right there for sure. And Lewis comes in and says, looking good right now, with it being just 10 points scored in the first half. All right, so here they go. From their own 49-yard line, Mendoza looking. Mendoza on the move. Mendoza doing work. I don't know how he did that. That was very Mendoza-ish. And so I thought he was about to pull a page out of Johnny Manziel's playbook for a second there, talking about the college version. But that was big time, big time. I like it when a quarterback can make it happen when that pocket starts to break down. Oh, let me see. Let me see. So who do I want to see in the championship of the remaining teams there? Honestly, of the remaining teams, since Texas Tech got put out, because that's who I would have said earlier, but since Texas Tech got put out there, I'd have to say Miami, because I assume that Georgia's going to put out Ole Miss. So I'm going to say Miami on one side. On the other side, though, I wouldn't be a hater. If Indiana went, that's great. But if Oregon went, as long as it's a Big Ten team that has a chance to win it, then sure. So we'll go ahead. I'll say Indiana, though, since Indiana, they're having an outstanding year. So that puts me in the same bracket as everybody else, basically. All right, they run it for a first down there. Got a minute and 13 seconds left to go here in the second quarter. Samuel says, your New Year sunglasses. That's one way to see it, Samuel. All right, so we got about 55 seconds to go here. I'm sorry, 58 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Let's see. Kenneth says he was over at Snowman Media for this game. He is doing good today. That's great. I'm glad to hear he's doing good. That is great. Let's see, Sam. Is that why you went to Walmart, Samuel, so you can get you some sunglasses like mine? Was that the goal? I'll say this. I'll say this. The difference between a team like Indiana and what I saw yesterday is that Indiana is a team that's hungry. They're still a team that's trying to climb that mountain. Mr. JB says Miami got enough room for everybody to get on the band on the wagon. Careful, you put too much weight on the wagon and the wagon will fall apart. Let's see, Salmon says buy food. Let's see, SM says Indiana and Oregon rematch in the next round and Mendoza versus Moore. Hey, now that's going to get you a lot of NFL scouts out there. I expect to see a lot of members from Raiders organization, Jets organization, anybody else is looking for a quarterback two up there, they need to be at that game. As a marketing person, that's certainly something that you want right there. SM says Carson Beck versus Georgia as well. So yeah, the storylines make themselves. I wonder if this is what the committee was talking about when they built the brackets to like, hey, we want to make sure we have that potential that these teams can meet early on. All right, so they're reviewing this. And so yeah, keep me updated, Kenneth. Definitely come, keep me updated. Definitely. It's definitely, definitely want to be kept updated there with Chris. And Samuel says, "Where's Lainey? Maybe, maybe she fell asleep." No, Lainey would not fall asleep. All right, so the call is actually overturned. All right, so the call's overturned. And some says, JB, who's your favorite NFL commentator? Oh man, that is a great question. Great question. Now, can it be someone that, how can I put it? Let's see, maybe someone that recently does it and stuff. Because like for me, let's see. Oh man, that's a great question. Because now I've got to update my list there. Because for me, I'm always a big fan of, listening to someone like, say like a Chris Berman, even though we're not talking about, actual in-game commentary that much, but to say in-game commentary, I would have to say, I mean, I'm a classic guy, I'm a classic guy. I'm used to hearing, the Al Michaels of the world, honestly. So those are the ones that are probably more like, it feels that classic feel. Romo just sounds like a guy that's just, opening a beer and just, just chatting with me. Like I feel like I can do what Romo does, just I don't have the NFL experience to do that. And then Brady, he follows his own opinion too much, like he makes his own opinion as if it's almost law sometimes. And I don't know, sometimes it feels a bit arrogant sometimes, like, hey, these guys are out there trying. I know you've done it, but it's still hard to do. So I'm not really liking either. I mean, when they first both were broadcast, and I were fans of both the first year or two of hearing them, but I feel like it's dying out for me quickly in terms of Brady and Romo. So I'm a classic guy. You give me an old head like Al Michaels, I'm happy. All right, 2nd and 5. Is it enough for the first down? Let's see. Samuel says, I think you say Relaney, was he say she was down there in Tennessee, you say? Laney says, I'm listening, but cleaning out the chicken coop and and feeding and watering the chickens. Bet. All right, nice run on the play. Going to be about a yard, maybe a yard and a half shy of that end zone. And this is perfect if you're Indiana. This is what you want right now. You go ahead, get ready, and if you can score that touchdown before the half, you got some time. You got, well, this is their final timeout call here, but basically 18 seconds here. See if you can score a second down. So this is exactly what you wanted there if you're Indiana. All right, with a 2nd and goal, they added a couple more seconds back up there to get it to 23. Again, Kalon Black currently right now, 8 rushes, 42 yards. That's what he does. Now, will they let Mendoza go out there and just bulldoze his way into that end zone? Play fake, looking, throws it. Oh, wide open into the end zone for a touchdown. And that was Cooper. So when they say hanging with Mr. Cooper, they're talking about Omar Cooper Jr. here with the 1-yard receiving touchdown. So right now, Indiana up 16-0. I'm about to kick the extra point here. Again, that drive, 11 plays, 58 yards, 2 minutes and 52 seconds to turn time possession. And you cannot draw it up any better than that. And the extra point, it is good. Let's see. You said make a great point about Brady. You said you meant like former players. Okay, so if we're narrowing it down to former players, I do like listening, and I'm gonna say 2 guys on that list there. I'm gonna say Collinsworth is one. I'm gonna say I do enjoy Aikman because even though Aikman's a former player, his commentary style it doesn't come from a place of like too overly focused on his perspective there. I like listening to both of those there. Herb Street's okay too. Herb Street's okay too. It's just it depends, I guess, on the mood that I'm in for there. But yeah, definitely Collinsworth and Aikman for me. All right, just 17 seconds before we reach halftime, guys. Now, does anybody think that Alabama's going to turn on the switch in the second half and do like they did in the first round and get things going here in the second round? I'm sorry, second half. All right, so Bama takes a knee, and that's going to take us to halftime with the score right now. Indiana 17-0, and they know if they win this game, they have a date with Oregon for the rematch. And Alabama gets the football first in the second half. All right, so we are here at halftime here. So now is the best part here. We get to talk about a little bit of the NFL. So just bear with me for a second here. Again, all my screens are a lot darker than I'm used to. So, but I've got no choice but to do that for now. So let's take a look at the NFL playoff picture today. All right, so here we go. And again, I'm just going to have it on my screen here on the side and just talk through it. Let me get back to the comments here. All right, so Lewis says, slow down, Indy. He's like, come on, Indiana. Let's be reasonable now. SM says, Alabama has to score a touchdown next or it's over. And so they're certainly feeling that pressure for sure. All right, so we'll start with the AFC. Me being a Patriot guy, obviously AFC guy here. In the AFC, I want you guys to let me know which team do you feel like has the most firepower, offensively in the AFC. Who's got the best firepower there, or the best balance, I should say. Let's say, no, the most firepower is one. The most balanced team that you have in the AFC, your X factor, and the team that nobody wants to play. I know that was a lot right there. So you guys let me know again for the AFC playoff picture. Who do you guys feel is most explosive offense, most balanced team, the X Factor team, and the team that nobody wants to face in the AFC. And so Dirty 30 was good. Was good. Says go dogs. And so yes, the dogs are definitely heavily favored there. I feel like the Bulldogs are playing much better football than they were when they beat Ole Miss the first time. Then you import the fact like, okay, obviously we all know Ole Miss lost Lane Kiffin, so can Pete Golden get this team ready there? I don't think so. I believe fully that Georgia's going to come out ready. I trust a Kirby Smart team in a playoff to come in more than prepared, more than ready. They have their own way of staying motivated, so there's no doubt they're going to come in hungry for this one. So, yeah, I expect the Bulldogs to come in ready, and who knows? It has the potential to where maybe, I don't think it's going to get ugly, but I do think come fourth quarter, Bulldogs will have control of that game. Kenneth says we got one more for tonight. Let's see. Brayhawk says every game so far, our team hasn't scored at halftime. Ooh, what a. Oh, man, Braden. I just realized that when you said that. Kenneth says go Ole Miss. All right, so Mr. JB says Denver Broncos in the AFC. But yeah, for me, I would say team with the most firepower offensively in the AFC, because I'm gonna try not to use the same team twice when I say this. So when I say this, I'm gonna say firepower offensively. Obviously, we all know what Josh Allen can do when he's playing his best game and when he elevates in the playoffs. Not saying that they've reached that point there, but they would be my team that could get hot, and I can see that offensive team, offensive firepower there. So I'm gonna say Buffalo is my choice for the highest offensive power potential, and again, keyword is potential, not what they've done so far, but potential. Now, my most balanced team, I would say in the playoffs right now, personally, I feel like it's the New England Patriots, the most balanced team. You look at offense, you look at defense, they complement each other nicely and stuff. I feel like they're a balanced team this year. My X Factor team is the Jacksonville Jaguars, in which I showed my hand earlier there, but the way that they're playing right now, they're playing extremely hot. So they're that team that they match up against you. If they're playing their best football, they can get it. So that's how I feel regarding that. And then the final one that I had was I would say the team that nobody wants to face right now would probably be the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans have a great, tremendous defense. And if they ever get it going, CJ Stroud and Nico Collins and company can get that offense to catch up with that defense, look out. They'll match up well with everybody on paper. Why? If you match them against the Denver Broncos, the Broncos potentially would maybe score 13 points against the Texans. I think the Texans can exceed that against the Patriots. If they were to play the Patriots, they would match up well in terms of shutting down the receivers. That game, I could see them holding the Patriots to about 17, 20 points. So if the offense can score 24 or more, they can get that. The Jaguars, they know the Jaguars very well. So the Texans are a team that I feel like nobody really wants to if they can avoid playing that team there. So those are the four that I chose from the AFC. Now let's look and see what you guys said. All right, so give me a second here. All right, so SM says most firepower is Bills because of Allen. Most balanced teams, the Broncos. You say team no one wants to face is the Texans for the AFC. Okay. Kenneth says the Jags and the Texans. Let's see, 3030 says, I feel like it's going to be Buffalo and San Francisco in the Super Bowl. So you got Buffalo getting there. That would be interesting there. That would be interesting. I feel like if Buffalo had a big-time playmaker at wide receiver that can go out there and really elevate with Josh Allen, then sure, they would have a chance to upset. But they got a couple things to work on there. But they do match up with some of the better teams there, so anything can happen. And if Josh Allen puts on that Superman cape, look out. Look out. Let's see, 30 says, I still feel like the commissioner grew up in, he's a New England Patriots fan. You feel that way? Well, hey, he could have saved us a couple times there by just, not docking so many picks from us, That could have helped. Let's see, SM says X Factor teams, the Patriots, because they're young but have a realistic path to the Super Bowl. I like how you worded that, SM. I like how you worded that. And so for me, when it comes to the Broncos, I still question a little bit their offense. Like, yes, I know that they can be clutch if the game is like 10-10 and they get the ball late. Yes, they can score late, but their offense brings up some concern. The same concerns I would have about the Philadelphia Eagles offensively, in all honesty. Let's see. Kenneth says how NFC the teams you don't play. And say, yeah, so now the NFC. So you guys answer that same question, but for the NFC. And so I'm really curious about that. The AFC, I kind of had an idea where I wanted to go, but the NFC is super tough there. Again, most explosive offense in the NFC. And then what team is the most balanced in the NFC? And then who's the X Factor team in the NFC? And then also the team that nobody wants to play in the NFC, because that's going to be tough. I'm going to say, who and I got to really think about this one there, because this there's so many choices right now, so many choices. Because like I want to say one team twice, so I got to determine which category, because I don't want to use the same team twice. So I want to determine what category am I going to look for. So I'm going to go ahead and say most explosive offense. I'm going to give that one to, I'm going to give it to, it's so tough though. It's so tough though. I really want to say the Rams for that one, but the Rams to me also, like nobody wants to play the Rams. Nobody wants to play the Rams. So they're extremely explosive there. So I'm gonna see what y'all say and y'all reasons for saying what y'all say. Then I'll make up my mind later on, because this one, NFC is really tough to choose. There's a lot of good teams in the NFC. All right, let's see. 3030 says you're a Raiders fan and you like how everybody's throwing fits because they benched 2 players, but the Giants sit 8 players and nobody's talking about that. You know what, Dirty 30? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. It is what it is. With the Giants, they've got their own issues and stuff like that, but it is so critical for the Raiders to get this right this year. We cannot, and I repeat, we cannot have a repeat of the whole Jamarcus Russell thing. I honestly feel like Jamarcus Russell, that mistake set the franchise back a decade, that mistake alone. Now obviously they did get it right with Derek Carr since then. I understand that, but if you guys can get someone elite to start building around, then that, and plus, how do you feel about Pete Carroll in terms of just coming back next year potentially? Do you want that, or do you want to just move on from Pete, get somebody younger, somebody with a different, vibe? How do you feel about Pete Carroll coming back potentially next year, or do you want him gone after this year? Because honestly, the style runner that a guy like Ashton Jeanty is, you're not going to see results from that. I don't think year 1 that much. Year 2 will probably be kind of sort of the same. But year 3, that's typically when you start to see a running back of Jeanty's style really start to materialize. And that's when you realize if you ended up with a Najee Harris or if you ended up with a Marshawn Lynch. Because those type of, runners there, I feel like by year 3, is when you will really find out what you drafted for a guy like Ashton Jeanty. Let's see, Samuel says, will the Saints make the playoffs? Not this year. Not this year, Samuel. Let's see, 3030 says the commissioner hates the Raiders. Everybody needs to look at what he has done to the Raiders. And so, I always want to see the silver and black do good. I'm still waiting for that return there, for them to get to the point of them being good. I miss the days of when they had, the Rich Gannons of the world, your Jerry Rice's, Tim Browns back there, Charlie Garner. I miss those days because at least that team was fun to watch. They got to get back to those kind of ways, honestly. But they got a lot of work to do. When I say a lot of work to do. And it's tough right now because everybody that's in the AFC West right now seems to be peaking. And we know that the Chiefs, they can retool. They can retool. But that being said, you give yourself a quarterback, you give yourself a chance. You guys got to get this one right. Got to get this one right. Let's see. SM says, most firepower offense in the NFC is weirdly San Francisco right now. I did consider San Francisco for that one, honestly. I did. You say most balanced team is the Bears, maybe. You say the team no one wants to face is the Eagles because they have championship experience. Okay, okay, okay. So, yeah, I would have to say, yeah, 49ers offensively, the way that Christian McCaffrey's working, George Kittle when he gets going, and Jawan Jennings, him and Cortland Sutton, they're both like second half wide receivers for some reason. They're like second half wide receivers. Brock Purdy's playing pretty good right now, so I can co-sign the 49ers as that, most firepower offense there. Let's see, 3030 says, I don't want Pete Carroll back. He needs to be in a nursing home. Oh man, Pete Carroll. Maybe he can get like a front office thing, but he certainly shouldn't be head coaching right now. He just shouldn't be head coaching right now. But man, the question becomes, who do you bring in as the head coach for the Raiders? Who can come in and do that? Last year it was pretty easy to determine like, hey, the hottest, names out there was your Ben Johnsons of the world, that's what you really wanted. But this year, question is, who do you bring in? Do you bring in a veteran coach? Do you bring in a young coach that's, excelling at his role? Like who do you bring in to help the Raiders get back on track and help them first build a culture? It starts first with the culture. Before you even draft your quarterback, it starts with the culture. That's the first thing that you got to go ahead and establish. And it's got to be a culture in which the players fall in line for. They believe in it because it starts with believing. Get the most out of your current players. And then from there, you add on more pieces. You got to hit on the draft too. I know I was talking about the quarterback and stuff, but how many draft picks do the Raiders have for this upcoming draft? Let me know that. How many draft picks do the Raiders have in this upcoming draft? Samuel says, will the Saints make the playoffs in 2026 and 2027? I'll tell you this though, Samuel. The fact is, they very well could make the playoffs in 2026. Now, I don't know how the draft's going to go, how free agency is going to go, but what I do know is that Tyler Shaw at least can stabilize the position and give you guys a little bit of a chance. He's starting to build some rapport with Chris Olave. That's good. And the offense being as good as they're looking right now is a positive because the defense has always been the calling card for the Saints lately, but ever since Drew Brees left, it's been, hey, who's going to be that quarterback? And so if you truly have your quarterback, in which I'm not going to go ahead and say, hey, this is, really going to work out all that great, but it was a good, year one for him. He really did improve this team ever since Spencer Rattler got sat down. As for Spencer Rattler, I guess your boy JB might have been right when I first used to criticize Spencer Rattler because he was out there wilding out. But yeah, so I think 2026 is a possibility, mostly because the division was not that great this year. It really was not all that great. If you can get to 9 wins next year, that might be enough. That might be enough. But things change from year to year. Because heck, Michael Penix Jr. for the Falcons, I have some serious concerns just about his injuries. Forget the football field, just his injuries alone. All right, so SM says X Factor team is the Rams. If they get healthy and start playing how they were before, they could go all the way. Rams carry a defense. They do carry that offense. If you're a team at home and you're like, dang, I got stuck playing against the Rams, that's not a good feeling. That's not a good feeling at all. Because the Rams, heck, last year, they looked really good and looked like a team that could potentially lose. They just didn't finish the job. But these guys, Matthew Stafford, he's been up that mountain before. He knows what it takes. Sean McVay. So you're right. They are that X Factor team. And when they are fully healthy, look out. Let's see. 3030 says, I would rather draft a lineman and then trade for a quarterback. Okay. Okay, that could work. Give me your top 3 options for potential trade, candidates that you would like to see the Raiders consider. Because honestly, if you get that trade right, that could be really big right there. And, drafting the quarterback, hey, big risk, big reward. But if that's what it takes to stabilize the team, then, hey, that would be great. Especially if you're going to draft a lineman, maybe you trade back, get some additional draft picks and stuff. Stay within the top 10, though. Stay within the top 10. But pick up, an additional first. Go ahead, get that lineman. And then, but I'm really interested in terms of what quarterback you would like to see the Raiders trade for potentially. As the SM said, I've seen rumors of the Raiders wanting Jesse Minter. Okay, okay. You want Brian Flores. Brian Flores. Now, there's a guy that knows how to change a culture around because, obviously he didn't get to stay in Miami long enough to really benefit from that. And what he was able to do with Ryan Fitzpatrick, a veteran, he clearly wanted a veteran over Tua Tagovailoa. Ownership didn't agree with that, But honestly, if Brian Flores went to the Raiders, I would like that. I would like that. Because for a fact he's going to work on that defense. You know that. And if you give him a veteran quarterback, like what the Dolphins had that year with Ryan Fitzpatrick, he'll get you some W's. Now, it's going to probably take, 3 years. Give him the full 3-4 years to really build that team out. But I feel like if you give him time, he's a guy that can do it. He's someone that I really do believe is good at helping a team just establish a culture. Let's see. Dirty 30 says, I've seen reports that John Gruden and Derek Carr want to be Raiders. I love both of them, but I don't want that yet. Derek Carr is not that answer. He's not that answer. And John Gruden, I feel like if he gets another chance, it just can't be back to the Raiders again. It just can't be. It's like that couple that keeps getting back together. Like if it was meant to be, you wouldn't keep going apart. Just find something else to do. He's doing a good job, working with the incoming, quarterbacks and stuff. But yeah, John Gruden back to the Raiders. I don't want to see that again. I don't. You said I only have one option for a trade, and he's in Cincinnati. Hey, now the Raiders have done that before. The Raiders have done that before back with Carson Palmer back in the day. As the essence says, Flores would be a good fit for the Raiders. And so, yeah, that would be. SCSM says, JB, do you buy the Lamar trade rumor? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I'm going to say this. I'm not like 100% saying that I don't think that there's something there. I just don't think that that's going to materialize. I think at the end of the day, they're going to keep him. This is a guy that won, league MVP for them. If he's fully healthy, they know what they did. And it comes down to who you're going to replace him with. Who you're going to replace him in. Do you really want to go out there and get another quarterback that might end up being bad? So I think when it's all said and done, they're going to keep Lamar Jackson. And besides, who wants to pick up that contract and stuff like that? Who wants to pick up that contract? So no, I think that there may be some truth to it because you ever hear in the future, you ever hear about past trades that almost happened, but they never happened. And you're like, that would have been crazy. That's insane to think that almost happened, So I do think conversations may happen in the background. I just don't think Lamar is going to be traded, Now, a quarterback that is going to be traded, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's going to be on the go. He's going to be out. Now, what team wants Kyler Murray? That's the question. That's the question. Who wants Kyler Murray? So a team I'm going to say this 30-30. Would you be okay with the idea of having someone like a Kyler Murray? How would you feel about that? Personally, I think Kyler Murray's going to be headed to a team like maybe the Jets, if they're not able to draft the quarterback they want, maybe they would make sense there. But I think Kyler Murray's going to be able to move. I just don't know what team. I mean, Pittsburgh Steelers, if Aaron Rodgers does retire, do they reach out for a Kyler Murray? I don't know. You said Lamar's not a Super Bowl quarterback, in your opinion. And so, hey, you're right about that. You're right about that. What he is he's an exciting quarterback. He sells tickets. He can have a great regular season. But you look at all the talent that they got around Lamar. And he's out there acting like unless you pair him with the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, 2001 Baltimore Ravens defense and stuff like that, unless you give him that defense, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. You got tremendous receivers like a Zay Flowers. Your third, fourth option is a guy like Hopkins that still can go out there and make, a couple catches. Not to mention the 2 tight ends you had. You got Derrick Henry in the backfield. You got all these weapons they gave you. And the offense still feels like at times it's the weak point. I'm like, what more can we do? They went and specifically got an offensive coordinator to play, his style and stuff. And I don't know what more you can do. I don't know what more you can do. So I'm tired of, waiting on Lamar to go ahead and step it up. I feel like the most you're going to get from him is perhaps a visit to the AFC Championship game on a really good year if the rest of the team's just solid. But between the injuries and stuff like that, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So there's just too many good teams that are up and coming in the AFC. So I agree with you there. Again, exciting quarterback. He can get a league MVP in the regular season, but it's just not happening. Let's see. Samuel says NFL game make playoffs for Super Bowl. And so, hey, they got to go out there. We'll have that answer after this upcoming week. That we will, in terms of what teams and who's going to be playing where. But this is going to be an exciting playoff for sure. Get your popcorn ready. I mean, how things stand now, we would be like if the playoffs started today. Imagine this wild card. We'd be looking at the Bears versus the Packers right now. We'd be looking at the Eagles versus the Rams, I believe. It's just so many things we'd be looking at right now. The winner of the Buccaneers and Panthers versus the 49ers. AFC, we'd be looking at the Patriots versus a team like maybe Buffalo. And so this is exciting. Get your popcorn ready for this one. All right, but hey, we made halftime fly by. We made halftime fly by. Now we are ready to get back to it. All right, so here we go, guys. Third quarter. Right now, Alabama finds himself down 17-0. But hey, if it's going to happen, you got to make it happen. How will they come out this third quarter? Looking to pass. Quick pass. Catch by the receiver. And the receiver brought down for a loss. Not the way you want to start the second half. And I believe that was the cover boy, Ryan Williams. See, Sarah says NCAA college football playoffs for national championship winner 2026. So looking into the future there. Do you have any picks for us there, Samuel? You're going to say Ole Miss? All right, 2nd and 12 here for the Crimson Tide. Shotgun formation. Tight end goes in motion. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Back goes in motion now. Snaps the ball. Simpson feeling a rush. Simpson cannot get it to his guy. So they tried to run a little screen there, but it did not work. Brayhawk says, Indiana, keep the foot on the gas. Keep their foot on their throat at this point. All right, so 3rd and 12. Bama today is 1 of 5 on 3rd downs. That's not going to win you ball games. Believe me, I know. So on 3rd and 12, shotgun formation here. Can they get a first down? I feel like they got to. Simpson throws it, gets it to the big tight end. And the tight end, he is going to be well short. I can hear Mr. JB now saying, why would you throw the ball shorter than the first down marker? And so Brayhawk says denied. Brayhawk says stopped. Samuel says Georgia makes the playoffs for national championship 2026. You think they're going to get it in 2026? Think they're going to get it? That would be a good choice. That would be a good choice. They certainly would be a contender. All right, here we go. 4th and 8. Punt on the way. Catches it from their own 21 and brought down immediately. Should have called the fair catch there, but it's time for Indiana to come out on the field. All right, again, third quarter here with 12:26 in Indiana's goal. I can see it now. They want to drive down there, take off a good, about 5 minutes or more, go down there and score. That's the game plan. Snaps the ball. So run play. And he's able to still find a way to get positive yards out of that one. That time, Bama went back there, but the running back just fast enough to find a crease, and that's all it took to gain some yards here. Let's see. 30-30 says the way the Georgia Bulldogs are winning, they are building a scary team for the future because they got a lot of kids on that team. And so, oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the mark of a true team is your retention of that talent. How do you keep that talent from wanting to enter the portal, especially when you know you need depth at certain positions? How do you keep those guys to continue to follow the vision and say, hey, your time will come. Your time will come. Greyhawk says, good run. All right, so 3rd and 3 coming up here for the Indiana Hoosiers. Again, here in the third quarter with 12:20 to go. If Kurt had been in Indiana for a good amount of time, I'd have said he'd have been a good candidate for to make that transition to the NFL for a team like the Raiders. If he had been in Indiana, say another 2 years, I would say he'd be a good candidate to consider. I feel like he would establish the right mindset. All right, 1st and 10 here in the third quarter with 11 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Snaps it, gives it a back in the back, finds the crease again, takes it all the way to about the 41-yard line there on the carry. 2nd down coming up. And again, Indiana doing the same thing they did in the first half there. Continuously get, 4 yards here, 5 yards here. And then Mendoza goes and throws 8 yards here, 12 yards here. Greyhawk says they're running Mendoza a lot today. Got to keep the defense honest. And Mendoza on the move. Oh, I see what he's talking about. And so Mendoza picks up that 1st down. Mendoza doing work. You know what's funny about Mendoza? Mendoza runs like a construction worker running out of the way of some danger coming. He looks like a construction worker running when he takes off the run. Brayok says, there he goes again. Our receiver goes in motion here. Quick pass, gets it to him. And picks up about a good 6 yards on the play. They continuously are finding ways to pick up 5, 6 yards. And they're doing a great job on 1st down. What I love the most about what Indiana's doing is that they're doing a tremendous job on 1st downs. Hey, y'all ain't had to do Tom Allen like that. Come on, take that off the screen. Don't down Tom Allen. He tried, man. He tried. Heck, if he was still the head coach right now, maybe we would be playing in this game. Let's see, 30-30 says, you all have a great one and happy New Year. Yeah, happy New Year to you. Thanks for coming through. And hey, best of luck there to your Bulldogs there, because a lot of people want to see the Bulldogs versus the Hurricanes in that matchup there. So Bulldogs, go out there, take care of business. And you know they will today. You know they will. Let's see. What? Samuel. Where are you taking your date? You got a date with a girl? That's what's up. Where are you taking her? All right, 1st and 10. Feeds it to the back here, and the back's going to pick up 2 yards on the play. We've got 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter. All right, 2nd and 8. Again, Indiana with 127 yards rushing, averaging 4.1 yards a rush. Mendoza moving. Mendoza looking for daylight again. We're going to start creating this saying he's going to do the Mendoza. Anytime a quarterback takes off and run, we're just going to say he's doing the Mendoza at this point. Look at that. Look at that. The moment he senses pressure, he's like, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. And when your quarterback can do that, the defense has no choice but to respect that. And that's what's going to open up those receivers getting open late because they got to make a decision. You know, they got to come after the guy. So there it is. But man, Samuel, I'm happy for you. All right, 3rd and 1. Mendoza looking. Mendoza taking a shot. Has a receiver for the touchdown. Oh my goodness. BTA. That's what we're seeing today. And Surratt. I knew Surratt was going to get a touchdown in this one. Believe me, I learned that firsthand. The kid got some real ups to him. Surratt's a really good receiver. And that's exactly who made that. Because you have the defense fall asleep deep because they got no choice. Running backs are running. Quarterbacks are running. Short pass here, short pass there. And then they caught him sleeping. Mendoza hit him with the dozer. Just like that. Now the extra point is good. So Indiana up 24-0 over Alabama. If this doesn't wake up the Crimson Tide, I don't know what will. All right, so after that touchdown, I have to ask you guys this question. So let JB know in the chat. When I say Mendoza will be, let you go ahead and respond a top 5 quarterback, a top 15 quarterback, whatever you truly believe in your heart of heart, with Mendoza, you go ahead and put that in the chat. But I'll go ahead and ask the question. So Mendoza will be, and you guys let me know when his career is basically, I shouldn't say all said and done, but a good, let's say 4 or 5 years into his career, he will be a top what quarterback? So obviously we don't want to go off of rookie year, second year, but by the 5th year in the league, when they're ready to write that second contract, Mendoza will be what quarterback in this league? And again, we're at the commercial now, thanks to the touchdown by Indiana. All right, so Samuel says date night with a NCAA college football playoffs. Okay, so the Ole Miss and Georgia game in New Orleans, that's the date night. Hey, that's what's up, Samuel. That's what's up. So you get to watch football there and have your girl with you. That's what's up, Samuel. I'm happy for you. Congratulations. Congratulations. What food are you going to be eating there? What's your favorite, go-to foods to eat when you go to these games? I know you go to quite a few games, so what's your favorite go-to in terms of what you like to eat at the football games? Let's see. Laney says, congrats, Samuel, and have a great night with your date. Yes. Tremendous time. Now remember, Samuel, keep you cool if you see Ole Miss struggle now. Keep you cool. But hey, if Ole Miss comes out and win, then Samuel will be able to say he told JB it was going to happen. All right, kickoff on the way. And again, we're in the third quarter. There's 7 minutes and 46 seconds left to go. Bama's trailing 24-0 right now. So Ty Simpson has got to find a way to get into the end zone on this drive. I don't know how else to say it and stuff like that, but they've got to find a way to get into the end zone on this drive. Because right now they are moving like a vehicle with 4 flat tires, and that will get you nowhere. All right, let's see. And Samuel says, let's see, food game. So you like the hot dog or the pizza? And so, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, those some good options there. Those some good options there. JB usually gets both. Now, basketball games, I probably tend to get a little bit more, like fries and stuff like that for some reason. I don't know why, but we're talking football here. Give JB that, get those 2 slices of pizza, a drink, perhaps even a hot dog too. Oh yeah, but that's gonna be exciting down there, Samuel. That's gonna be exciting. I'm like, I see Josh Allen on the commercial there for the electrolyte stuff, and I'm like, look, I needed Josh Allen on my fantasy football team to help me out, and he was nowhere to be found. What, Samuel? You're telling me that your girl likes Georgia? Oh man, Samuel, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough. I mean, hey, if Ole Miss wins, I know you'll be feeling great. But dang, she likes Georgia. Oh, so I know why y'all both want to go to that. There's gonna be a lot of smack talking going on at that one. I'm just hoping that this. I feel like this was gonna clear. Well, easy to say that now. It will most likely end up being the best game of the day, but it could be back and forth. Scoring on both sides. We want a good game. I want that game to go to overtime. I want it to go to overtime for you, Samuel. I want it to go to overtime for you. Let it go to like 7 or 8 or 9 overtimes. Whatever the max that we can get. Let it go like 7, 8, 9 overtimes. Oh, Ty Simpson's like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Oh man, not the way you want to see his career end there, but still being a teammate to the very end. And now for Bama, shotgun formation, different quarterback in there now due to the injury to Ty Simpson. Quick pass to the back of the backfield, and the back goes out of bounds. Second down coming up. And this is Austin Mack in there at quarterback. All right, 2nd and 9, shotgun formation here. on the move. Gonna run. Picks up the first down using his legs there. All right, again here in the third quarter, 6 minutes and 47 seconds to go in the third quarter with Indiana up 24-0. Heck, if the quarterback has to keep running it, then it's what he's got to do. And oh, picked up maybe a yard on the carry. That's it. That's it. They're like, nah, we're not going to let you just come in here and run this ball. All right, so Bama going to hurry things up here. Six minutes left to go here in the third quarter of play right now. Bama looking. Mack in the pocket. Mack throws it to a receiver wide open on the sideline. What a big time play. And he went out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. Something there to wake up the Old Faithful. Because right now, if you're a Bama fan, you're upset with how this game's going. There's no ifs, no ands, no whats, no buts about it. But that being said, you see Mack looking like that. It's like, okay, he can come in and ignite this offense. That's what you want to see from here on out. That he goes down there and just make it do what it do. As Shamir says, hey, your JB was night game Ole Miss versus Georgia live stream. And so, oh no more back-to-back live streams for JB for a minute. As I said, did Simpson get benched? And so Simpson got pulled out because Simpson hurt his rib earlier from a hit. And so he tried to warm up, gave the indication to the coaching staff. He couldn't go, so they went ahead and let Matt go in there. So he didn't get benched, but this is probably the best thing right now for, Bama, considering just put someone else in there, especially if it's somebody that you're high on for the future. And let's see how he looks in a big game like this, build some confidence for him and just move the ball. So I would say this is more injury related as opposed to flat out, just benching. All right, again at the commercial here. And this Matt guy seems like he can use his legs too, so that's a big threat. If he's willing to use, his legs to just move the chains. So yeah, so I am actually eyeing something Saturday between I'm probably going to end up doing the Seahawks and the 49ers one. That's probably going to end up being the one I end up doing, Seahawks versus the 49ers. So that is what I believe will be the next one. I should have it up by end of day tomorrow, I would say. Maybe later tonight, but yeah, that should be the next one. 49ers versus the Seahawks. It's a big time matchup there, big time matchup. 49ers game start time, I believe they started 8 o'clock Saturday. Let me just double check that. Oh yeah, it's tough to see with these shades, but I don't have much of a choice, but let's see. I want to say it's 8 o'clock Eastern time, but let me double check that. Yeah, it is 8 o'clock Eastern time. All right, so third quarter, 5 minutes and 13 seconds to go. Here in the third, tight end goes in motion. They're looking. Mack on the move. Mack throws it. Gets the completion there to his tight end. Okay. Mack out there moving the offense. All right, so first and goal. 4 minutes and 45 seconds go here in the third quarter of play. Let's see if they mix in a run call here with a young quarterback in this situation. Nope, they're going to look the pass. Looking, feels the rush, moving, running, takes on the contact, and he's brought that at the 5-yard line, picked up 4 yards on that quarterback run. His last name is not Mack for no reason. Second and goal coming up. And look at that. Austin Mack has come in and given life to this Bama squad. 4 minutes to go, second and goal here for Alabama. Will Bama finally get on the scoreboard here? Throws it. Gets the completion, but he's going to lose yards on the play. Because in college football, you're down once your knee touched that ground. All right, so third and goal here. Now, Indiana's really good in the red zone. So let's see, what can Mack do? Can Mack be special on this play? All right, so third and goal here. Third quarter, 3 minutes to go. Hoosiers up 24-0. Bama at the 10-yard line. Got to find a way to get into the end zone here. Looking. Throws it. Oh, incomplete. Oh, my goodness. What a hit. I mean, my man hit him so hard, he hit the factory reset button when he got up. I mean, my man just got up like an NPC, like it was nothing. But man, what a hit that was. Indiana playing bully ball. SM says they got to go for it. I agree with you too. But right now, I'm seeing Connor Talley out there. I don't know what kind of sick game the boy thinks he's playing out there, but if he wants to find a way to not get invited back home, keep doing what he's doing. They went for the field goal. He said it was more important to put 3 points on the board rather than to say we got shut out. Wow. I don't understand it. You are down 21 points. This is the college football playoffs. There is no tomorrow. And this is what you call the field goal unit? What? All right, Sammy says NFL second game start time. Well, that game is the second game, the 8 o'clock game on Saturday. Before that is the Panthers and the Buccaneers. And that game, I think it's either 4 or 4:30. Which one is it? I feel like it's 4 p.m. Eastern time, but let me double check. All right, so that one is 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that is the first game that comes on Saturday. So Bama does come away with some points in a form of 3 points. So the only person that's probably happy about that is simply anybody that took the over on Bama's kicker prop and they need some field goals and they're hoping that the coach keeps it up. So yeah, first game is 4:30, second game is 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Eastern time Saturday. All right, but still right now, currently here at the commercial. Let's see. Yep, no problem there, Samuel. No problem at all. So now 2 minutes and 44 seconds left to go here in this one. So if you're Indiana, you're up 24-3. All you have to do is keep doing what you've been doing. You're taking time off the clock. You're getting first downs. You're tiring out that defense there. I still don't agree with the decision for Bama to kick a field goal as opposed to go for a touchdown in that scenario. That just tells the fan base it's like, hey, we're not trying to win this game. Greyhawk says, Indiana scores a touchdown here, game over. I mean, even if they ended up kicking a field goal but took off, like, let's say 5 to 7 minutes off the clock. But yeah, but you're right. A touchdown there, that's all she wrote. Greyhawk says, also, it would be looking like last year's Rose Bowl. And so, right? All right, let's see. So now, Indiana, can they continue to keep this momentum going from their own 25-yard line? Shotgun formation, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Snaps the ball, gives it a back, and the back gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. So that time, Bama says, nah, we've seen this story plenty of times. We're not going to let you do that again. And those is putting in work. All right, 2:10 to go here in the third quarter. 2nd and 10 right now. They motion the tight end here. Another run play. Oh, bounced off the defender there. Picked up 2 yards on the play, but I know he felt that. I know he felt that. So 3rd down coming up. And again, Indiana, they want that clock to continue to move. To continue to move. You say Ole Miss versus Georgia start time, that's 8 p.m. Eastern time. 8 p.m. Eastern time. Can't have you arriving late to the game there, Samuel. All right, so 3rd and 8 for the Hoosiers. Can they get a first down? Bama tries to get their pressure, gets the completion, gets the first down, still running, still running, still running. And then he trips out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. They may need a stop, but no stop was found here. I mean, look at that. Just bounced away from the first guy. Second guy couldn't get him. Third guy couldn't get him. Fourth guy tried. Brayhawk says you got to make that tackle. You just got to do it. Snaps the ball. Run play. Oh, look at him. That's a first down. My goodness. Oh, look out. All right, so that's going to go ahead and take us to the end of the third quarter. And at the end of the third quarter, it's the Indiana Hoosiers up 24-3. Brayhawk says, "Oh, I thought that was a touchdown." I mean, but Brayhawk does have the ability to see into the future, so maybe. But 3 quarters down here in the Rose Bowl, and everything is going Indiana's way right now. I guess if you're Bama right now, you prepare a good speech for the team. Tell them it's been great. It's been real. But yeah, all hope seems to be lost there for Alabama right now. Let's see. Brayhawk says, how about the Big Ten? JB could have a chance at winning 3 straight national championships. That's true. That is very true. And you know what? With the game going how it is, hey, we at least know we're going to have a representative there. I'm pretty sure it'll probably end up being Indiana, to get there, probably something like, I don't know, 31-20 or something like that with a victory like that. But whoever gets there from the Big Ten, they're going to have a chance. They're going to have a chance. But it depends on who they're playing. It depends on who they're playing. Just anybody that goes against UGA in the big time championship game, you better come ready to fight. Like, you better come ready to fight. They have that experience. They expect to go out there and dominate. And again, we're at the commercial now. When we come back, it'll be the fourth quarter of this one. Oh, Kirby Smart looks like he's dressed for business. I forgot about that they were down 9 points and overcame that deficit. But again, UGA, I feel like, is a better team now than they were at that time. Right, run and play here for Indiana, and Indiana's going to pick up 2 yards on the carry. And the goal for Indiana, and at this point, everybody watching, is for that clock to continue to run. Let's see, Samuel says, I'm out. Bye. Good, great night. See you soon. JB at the next live stream. Later, y'all. Yes, Samuel, see you. And hey, have a great time out there, you and your girl. Hope y'all can have, a good time, even though y'all are rooting for different teams out there. But hey, enjoy the moment and start off 2026 the right way. Meanwhile, let's talk about the right way. Oh my goodness, look at this. He's gonna go all the way. Touchdown. Indiana. Indiana says we're built like this. Indiana says they built like that. 25-yard rushing touchdown. Kaylon Black. Brayhawk says you hope Ole Miss wins. Okay, so Brayhawk says he wants to see Ole Miss win. Okay. Brayhawk just likes rooting for the underdogs. Let's see, Mike says, JB, I was listening. Okay, bet. Brayhawk says, what a run. Again, reminds Brayhawk of himself. Back in the day, it used to be always constant comparisons between Brayhawk and Chris Johnson before Chris Johnson committed to East Carolina and stuff like that. But yeah, they used to have their comparisons. Who was faster? Who was the bigger game breaker? Brayhawk or Chris Johnson back in the day? See, Mike says Indiana gonna win all. Hey, the way that you're telling me you beat a Bama team 31 to well, right now it's 31 to 3. Still plenty of time left to go in this one, so they can add to it. But you come out and you dominate a team like that, they look really good in the trenches. Really good in the trenches. And then Mendoza, he can move. It's not like, Ohio State quarterback Julian Sand who couldn't move like that. Mendoza can move. So yeah, they very well could win it all. They could win it all. I don't know if I want to see that happen just because of their coach, and but hey, if Indiana does it, power to them. Power to them. All right, let's see. But again, at the commercial again, yeah, they're getting all the commercials they can out of this game here. Let's see, Mr. JB says we'll see what Miami has to say about that. First things first, before you worry about a team like Indiana, you got to see who's gonna win tonight out of Ole Miss and UGA, and then worry about them. And Mike says, "In your face, Bama." I'm sure Black Medicine is not too happy about that, there, Mike. Let's see, Mike says JB made a New Year's resolution to be cool at all times. Well, that sounds like something JB would do, doesn't it? Mike says hashtag Shades Life. Oh yeah. Hopefully by the time Saturday arrives, things will be back to normal for me. All right, so here we go. Kickoff on the way. And fair catch, no return there. So now for Bama, it's still a good opportunity to take a look at this backup quarterback here in a big time situation here. Let him build some confidence. And Mike said, did I say I'm doing an NFL game? And so that is correct. Saturday, the Seahawks versus the 49ers. That's a really good, juicy one to see who's going to be the best team in the NFC. That is the game that I will do Saturday. So, yes, that is again the 49ers versus the Seahawks Saturday at 8 o'clock. That's the second NFL game on this Saturday. And meanwhile, Mac, is it return of the Mac? I don't think so. Second and 10. Again, here in the fourth quarter, 14 minutes and 11 seconds here. Second and 10 coming up. You're down 31 to 3 in Indiana. They've got their foot on the gas pedal here. Your defense is exhausted. Your quarterback's hurt. The fans, they're upset. Probably out there slashing tires, just keeping it a buck. It's probably what they're doing. All right, second and 10. they get him for the sack. They get him for the sack. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is Indiana football, you guys. This is what Indiana's about. We saw a glimpse of it last year, but this year, this is what they're about. All right, 3rd and 20 right now. Throws it. Okay, incomplete. 4th down coming up. Here in the fourth quarter, 13 minutes and 27 seconds to go. Indiana up 31-3, and an opportunity coming up to milk more time off the clock. So Aslam says, JB, which two teams surprised you the most in the NFL this year? One in a good way and the other in a bad way. All right, so in a good way, I could easily say the New England Patriots, but I'm going to go ahead and say, aside from the Patriots, I want to use my own team here. A good way would be the Chicago Bears. Just everything that they were able to do, like that quickly turn things around and to win a division that coming into the season, we saw what Detroit did last year. We saw what Minnesota did last year. So you had those two teams. Green Bay's always in the mix of things too. So some people thought the Bears, and I was one of those people, thought the Bears were going to come in dead last. At least with the Patriots, I thought that they might come in, third, maybe second, might have been the ceiling there. But and that was on the optimistic side. But yeah, with the Bears, I expected that they were going to look improved, but still come in last place. But for them to be first place like that, that was absolutely amazing on their part. Amazing on their part. Now, surprised me in a bad way. I'm not going to blame this one fully because their quarterback was in and out, but the Washington Commanders, even when Jaden Daniels was playing, they did not look like that team they were last year. They looked like a pedestrian team that many times were lost, had no identity, no direction. They did not look that good even when he played, and he keeps getting hurt. So there's a lot more concern now. You coming into the season, there's a lot of confidence behind the Commanders. Right now, there's a lot of questions. Don't really love their run game all that much. There's a lot of questions there. A lot of questions. Now I could say the Chiefs, but for me that was that was more of a relief in terms of them being, bad. But even then, a lot of injuries with that. Up, you said my volume's low there, Mike? Let's see if I can up the volume here. Let me see. All right, let me know if that's better, Mike. Let me know if that's better. Volume's low. It said might be on your end. All right, well, let me know. Yeah, I've got it filled up to the max there, but if somebody else can confirm whether I sound lower than normal or not, just let me know. But yeah, that was one team that surprised me in a bad way. The Washington Commanders. Now, I could have said many teams, because the Ravens, they disappointed this year, but they can still make the playoffs, so I won't say them. To me, Cincinnati, I never really expect Cincinnati to make the playoffs because Cincinnati's a team. Joe Burrow gets hot, but he gets hot when his team is like almost eliminated. He gets hot way too late. He needs to start the season off that way and have it last the entire thing. Now, I know that he was injured and stuff like that, so I can't put it on him. But coming into the season, I did not expect the Bengals to be a playoff team. So with all the injuries and stuff, that was one thing. The Dolphins were also a disappointment too. I didn't expect the Dolphins to be that bad early on, but they right the ship the last couple of weeks. So can't say them really. So yeah. All right, Indiana, the mission is simple. Run this clock out. It's just that simple. Run this clock out. All right, runs the ball, gonna lose 2 yards there on the carry. Let's see, Mr. JB says, you log over you. All right, 2nd and 12. Again, here in the fourth quarter, with about 12 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Every win, Indiana just keeps making history. Oh, nice carry there. Now it's going to bring up 3rd down. And with every first down, you're going to be able to take more time off the clock here. And let's see, Mike says, why is Alabama so mid? This is crazy. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. Oh, man, what a big time play that was right there for Indiana. Don't sleep on Mendoza. Don't sleep on Mendoza. He's that kind of boxer that, hey, he's going to hit you with that damn power punch soon. And the moment he lulls you to sleep, look out. He's coming for that knockout. Right now, they have snatched the soul from this soulless Bama team right now. But why is Bama this mid? I mean, hey, these aren't the Bama that we're used to seeing years ago up under Nick Saban. Don't get me wrong, they're still a good team. They still got good pieces, but they are not that team. That old Bama team used to dominate the line of scrimmage on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So it did not matter, who the opponent was. They had the better, interior lineman. That's no longer the case. They have a good, offensive and defensive line, but they're not the most dominating line anymore. And that makes all the difference in the world. But yeah, right now, this what the team you see up there, they've lost their will to fight. There's nothing to fight for anymore. But Indiana's hungry. They want to send a message. 2nd and 5. Another run play. Running, running, running. Scores a touchdown again. Indiana Hoosiers making it do what it do. This time it is Hemby with the 18-yard rushing touchdown. And something tells me Indiana wants to score again. But Indiana's sending a message that we're going to go out there, play our brand of football. Doesn't matter what the score is. We believe in our guys. And look at that. Look at that. Look at the big hog bodies up front. Give credit to the offensive line on that one. All game long, those big boys up front, they have won the battle. Braden is like, wow, this makes him want to retire and go out there and carry the rock at this point. He says it's a beatdown. Yeah, guys, we may not see black medicine for a minute after this kind of loss, guys. This is just wow. Let's see. I see that Kalon Black's got 99 yards rushing. I know they want to give him that 100-yard rushing before this one's done. But hey, we still got over 10 minutes to go. Oh, snap, SM. You're right. I forgot about that. I forgot all about that. Indiana's saying, hey, anytime Indiana play, don't think about the under. They're like, don't think about the under. Oh, man. Will they carry it by themselves? Let's see, because he took the under at 49.5. So they cannot combine at 50, and right now they are at 41 combined. So run that clock for Lewis. Run that clock for Lewis. All right, so we're at the commercial here still. And yes, Indiana is still scoring. And with how much time is left on the clock, they could score potentially 2 more times in this one. So, oh man, this is where Lewis calls the defensive coordinator and says, "Hey, what are y'all doing? Like, what is y'all doing?" As I said, hopefully the next game will be better. It's got to be. It's got to be. Two teams. We saw them play each other before. It was close then, but this one right here is just wow. Indiana may truly be the best team in college football, without question at this point. I mean, of course, you can still question, but I'm just saying the statement they're making today. And if they play like this, I just don't see who's going to beat them if they're playing like this. You know what? Maybe JB should stop projecting games because I chose Texas Tech today. That was wrong. Chose Bama. That was wrong. Y'all might want to take the opposite of JB right now in the playoffs. Things just ain't working out. All right, 10 minutes and 33 seconds left to go in this one. All right, so Bama drops back the pass, gets the completion, brought down at about the 35-yard line. And so, brother BKLA, what's good? What's good? You said shout out to everyone in the chat, including JB&M Sports Fanatic. Keep up a good work on the channel. Appreciate it. And shout out from the South Bronx. Hey, shout out to you. And you say, brother BKL, hey, I appreciate you, aka sports entertainer guy. And so, hey, you're the real MVP, and thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through. And Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. As some says, should Notre Dame have been in instead of Bama? And so honestly, I feel like no, like Bama did win a playoff game. It's not like they lost in the first round and stuff. You know, the thing that got Notre Dame caught up is that head to head against Miami. Because if they were going to get in, it should have been that. We should be asking the question, do we really want two schools like James Madison, who provided no excitement whatsoever, into the college football playoff when there was another team like Notre Dame that we could have gotten a quality matchup if we just removed them? Like, let's address the actual issue. The issue was not Bama being in. The issue was a team like James Madison getting in just because we had to have a team like that getting in. So to me, if they're really not one of the best teams, don't put them in. Don't just put them in to check a, checkbox and stuff like that. Like, don't do that. That's where we messed up at because it prevented a team like that. Not only that, simply the fact that if they had gotten, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Them only one between them or Tulane should have got in. Only one. That's it, not two. Because then Notre Dame would have get in. But if you put Notre Dame in the conference, maybe we don't have this issue. Maybe we don't. If they were in the ACC, maybe they would have got in. But that's how I see it. Let's see, you say, salute my pilot and Happy New Year. The open. So, yes, appreciate you coming through. Absolutely. And this is exactly how we want to start off the new year here with some football, enjoying, great conversations. Meanwhile, Mac throws it short, gets it there to the back, and the back just taking all these hits. They're trying to push him out of bounds without drawing a flag here. That's funny. 8 minutes and 32 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter of play. Let's see, you say, I defer from you. You said there are several conferences that did not get a team in. And you say 20 teams and distinct teams battle it out in a wild card type game. You know what? You might be onto something there. Because if we were to have, a James Madison versus like, let's say Tulane or something like that, play each other. And like, because you know how they do for college hoops, where you have like the team of 68, but then I think what, like four of those teams play each other just to see who's going to actually get to advance and make it into the team, the field of 64, something like that may not be a bad idea. Make them play that extra game and earn it. So only one of those get in. You might have been onto something there, Mike. You might be onto something. Let's see, Mike says Texas versus whoever was a great example of teams that should have been in there. You say, exactly, we fixed it, JB. That's how you fix it. Oh, trick play here from Bama. I got to give them credit. You're down 35 points. You're running trick plays. That's what I like to see. Playing like there's no tomorrow because there is no tomorrow. All right, let's see. You say, so what's your thoughts that you watched this game? You said, because my mind tells me is this is getting cooked. And so, well, your mind's accurate. It is definitely getting cooked there. But typically what I like to do is to, finish any stream that I start, especially if it's a play-by-play. I try my best to finish it. But honestly, this game right here came down to just Indiana showing we're undefeated for a reason. We are number one for a reason. Indiana's playing inspired. Look out for that team that is hungry, that team that's never been there, that team that, because last year they had a great year, but they finished not the way they wanted to finish. So they learned from that. This year, got to, bring in more pieces there. They had a tremendous head coach. One of the biggest difference between these two teams is just Indiana's coaching. Indiana's play at the line of scrimmage. They were winning the battle early in the first half, even with the offensive line. And when you win the battle with the offensive line, come the second half, it's going to be a cakewalk when it comes to just getting those yards on the carry. They did tremendous running the ball. Mendoza mixed it up. He'd run it himself. He'd throw a couple of deep passes to keep the defense honest as well. And hey, they're still playing hard despite being up. That's the difference between a team like Indiana, and I hate to use my own team as an example, but Ohio State, when they get like a 10-point lead, 9-point lead, or even I've seen a 6-point lead, Ohio State will get conservative and just try to only run the ball even though it's not working, just to try to milk the clock. But Indiana, even though they're up 35 points, they will still try to throw and score a touchdown to try to really just go out there and win the game. And I like that. I like that. But as for Bama, why is Bama this bad? Whew. Bama lost heart early in this one. They lost heart early in this one. I'd be interested to know if Ty Simpson already had an injury prior to. Well, I think he still probably hasn't fully recovered from his earlier injury this season. But yeah, Bama did not look good at all today. It feels weird to see Bama get beat down like this. Let's see, Mike says, stink teams, conference wild card to play goods. Let's see, BKL, I'm sorry, I'm tripping, y'all. BKL says, yep, the only problem is Bama needs to find better offense through the transfer portal. And so the only thing about that for Bama, the biggest issue comes with the whole NIL. They kind of feel like they're kind of at a disadvantage compared to where they were before that whole NIL stuff. So can they really do it? Of course they can. But it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. But they certainly do a good job of getting pieces. They just got to retool. Retool and let a loss like this fuel you. Sometimes when you have a game that just, you get mollywhooped like this, you let that just motivate you the entire offseason and you come out hungry the next year. So if you're a Bama fan watching this, just come out hungry next year. That's what the team has to do. But certainly got to retool. Because Ty Simpson, he was struggling with that offensive line this year. You got to go in that portal, get you some linemen first and foremost. Get back to playing Bama style of football. Let's see, Mike says, next game prediction. I project that UGA is going to win, final score being something like maybe 35 to I'm going to say 26. I've been saying that score all day, 35-26, but I think that's fitting. I think it'll be close early on, but by the fourth quarter, UGA will be able to pull away. Wow. Look at that. All right, so here in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes and 41 seconds left to go in this one. This one's almost over. But hey, if you're still here with JB, that means you're here because you just love the conversation, and we appreciate that. And so, all right, let's see. Black Medicine is upon us here. I got to read this one. All right, so this is coming from a true Bama fan himself. So Black Medicine says the Ty Simpson's injury isn't the issue. You say they'll throw him under the bus, but the offensive line and primarily the play calling ruined the season. And so I can attest to when you don't have an offensive line in the college football playoff, it shows up. So he's a Bama fan and he can't get any hungrier. You say, not without reverse gastric bypass. Oh, man. BKL says, so what would happen in next season for 16 teams instead of Tulane and James Madison? And so what if we were to honestly replace those two teams, then we have a scenario where we can get a team like a Notre Dame and maybe even a team like Texas in the field as well. If we were, adding those two teams there, those would be two that, based upon how this year played out, that I feel like would have gotten in there. Because Texas had a very big win at the end of their season. It was just tough to justify getting them in there considering, all the cutoffs and stuff. So that would be one. I'd be interested to see based upon next year's ruling because I can't, project. Would a team like Duke have gotten in just for winning the ACC? Should we reward that to where they automatically get in? Those are my questions. Let's see, Mike says, if even on Ben watching, you said they must be making a fortune with the playoffs. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because everybody knows this is it. Nobody's watching the other bowl games and stuff. This is it. This is it. Lewis, we were just talking about you, Lewis, man. We got to keep it under 50 here. So 3rd and 4, you might want Bama to get this ball back because Indiana has a tendency, if they hold on to the ball, they're going to try to score. They're going to try to score again. Mike says, you say, I face you. You face Black Medicine in your face. Let's see. Look at the quarterback you're running. That's not Mendoza. That's someone else. And it makes sense there. Put the backup in there. Let him get that carry. The Mendoza brothers. Okay, so it is a Mendoza, just not the same one. Let's see. Black Medicine says, who do I got for the Oregon versus Indiana game? I got Indiana winning. I've got Indiana winning. They played before, and I feel like Indiana right now extremely confident. And so Oregon, they made some mistakes in today's game. Texas Tech just had no offense, but they made some mistakes. So I'm going to say Indiana does win that one. All right. Mr. JB says excuses. He says excuses. Let's see. BKL Sports says, the only problem between you say though my mind is Ohio State next season schedule. See that schedule is so difficult. You know what? I haven't even looked at next year's schedule for that one, but all I can hope is that play calling. When it comes to Ohio State, play calling and the offensive line, they had their moments where they were good. They had their moments where they were good. We got to have some depth at the offensive line as well. But we got to retool and see where that brings us. And the Hoosiers are still running the ball here because with all the stuff that's going to happen with the portal guys, transferring, graduating, incoming, new freshmen and stuff, we'll have to see what the true tough games are going to be when it's all said and done. But yeah, that's where it starts. For me, it's all about play calling because losing Brian Hartline is huge for Ohio State. That's why Ryan Day, I guess, took over play calling and stuff. But we got to figure this one out. We've got to figure this out. Lewis says, let's go Dogs. Hey, are you taking the over or under in that game, Lewis? Bulldogs versus Ole Miss. All right, 3rd and 5 and back to the line of scrimmage. That's it, 2-minute mark. And again, Indiana will be moving on to the next one. JB's next live stream is going to again be Saturday for some NFL. That's right, the Seahawks versus the 49ers at 8 o'clock. That is JB's next live stream. Let's see. Mike says, I really appreciate your points you made. You said the other bowl games, on the other hand, are costing a fortune. That they are. That they are. No lies about that. No lies about that. Let's see. Lena says, I'm still here, JB. Just got finished cleaning up everything and going in the house. And so that's great because Indiana just got through cleaning up everything that Bama just did on the field right now. So you didn't miss much on that end right there. And so I mean, because I feel like when it comes to the other bowl games, the only other bowl game that I really ended up watching a little bit, as much as I could watch, was Iowa versus Vanderbilt. That did catch my attention some for that matchup. Tennessee versus Illinois. That one was one that I wanted to watch more of, but just didn't have the time to because of what time it came on. And obviously Texas versus Michigan. Those were the three bowl games that I kind of was like, well, you know what? I can sort of glance at it, but didn't nobody care about Utah versus Nebraska. I didn't even know why they put that matchup as a matchup. I was like, Utah's going to run them over unless a lot of players aren't playing. Let's see. All right, so Lewis took the over on 51, so he's expecting a lot of fireworks. All right, so PKL Sports says start at home against Ball State and Kent State. Okay, with a huge away game at Texas. And then plus Big Ten opponents like Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska. Okay, okay, okay. So really it comes down to that early matchup against Texas because now Arch Manning is really deserving of the hype that he's, going to be getting coming into that one. So we certainly got to come out fast offensively. And I mean fast. With it being the third game too, and really the first, big matchup, it looks like. I'm sorry, that's September 12th that we play Texas, so that's going to be before the Kent State game there. So, okay. Yeah, that's always a big time matchup anytime it comes down to Ohio State versus Texas. It feels like whoever wins that game is most likely going to be in the college football playoffs at some point when it's all said and done. I'm still mad about the time that Texas beat us and they had Vince Young and we had Troy Smith. See, Mike says Arch Manning makes more than most NFL backups. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. You add Manning to your last name and you see how much those NILs throw your way, Mike. But nah, I mean, next year's gonna be fun to watch. Next year's gonna be fun to watch for sure. Oh, wait, do we have an off? You know what? You know what? Somebody on Alabama said, I'm tired. I want to leave. I'm going to jump offside just so that way I can go ahead and end this game. Wow. Offsides, 5 yards. But hey, does us a favor. Let them go out there, run out this clock. And look at that. So now Indiana lines up in victory formation. Let's see. BKL Sports says, so what your gut tells you for the next number one overall pick in next year's NFL draft? My gut tells me this. Whether it's the Raiders, whether it's the Jets, Mendoza's going to be that first pick of the draft. It's going to be Mendoza. He put together a Heisman campaign. He lifted Indiana to right now about to be 14-0, regardless of what happens the rest of the way. He looks composed. So something tells me that first overall pick is going to be Mendoza this upcoming year. Because you know how it is. Everybody wants that quarterback. Everybody wants that quarterback. So even if another player is better, the quarterback position will get the utmost consideration for the first overall pick, and it's going to be Mendoza. Now, more is really where things get intriguing. I got to see the actual draft order to determine where he will get selected, but it'll be top five. All right, so we just got to get one more need, and then that's going to be a wrap. Mike says, Alabama wrecked. Love to see it. You say, make room, Mr. JB on the bandwagon. You say, you're all in on Miami. So Mike is all in on Miami. But hey, guys, this is it. That's the game. And so Indiana wins, final score being 38-3, which means Lewis, you cashed. So cash out there, Lewis. He took the under at 49.5 and it finished at 41. And so BKL Sports says, I agree with you, TMC. And so bet. So yes, I know a whole new wave of Miami fans right now on the horizon, or at least people that's rooting for Miami, I should say. But that being said, this one is done. And so JB will see you guys on Saturday. Gonna go ahead and end the stream, get me something to eat here and relax and take care of what's going on with my eye here. But thank you guys so much for coming through. It's been great. It's been real. And again, Happy New Year to everyone. And let's make this year a great year. Let's make it a great year. But again, congratulations to all Indiana Hoosier fans. You're making it to the Final Four. And you're going to get that to play the Oregon Ducks again. They say it's tough to beat a team twice. But Indiana strikes me as a team that they may be able to do it. Laney says, bye, JB. Yeah, good night to you. Good night, everyone. Take care. Have a great night. Thanks for coming through again. See you guys next time.